Just like Major League Fishing, it's environmentally
Last September, Australian teenager Chet Lawrence proved he was ready for stardom when he captured the 250 class Pro Motocross Championship on this very track here at Pala in California. After a winning Supercross campaign that saw the Honda rider earn the 250 East Championship, the Chet returns to Pala, ready to repeat against a deep and hungry 250 motocross field. It's time to take it outdoors. The 2022 AMA season starts right now.
It's the kickoff to the 50th anniversary celebration of America's Motocross Championship, the opening round of the 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. It's the Honda Fox Raceway National. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant all season long will be joined by legends as we celebrate the anniversary of this championship today. It's 7-time AMA National Champion Rick Johnson and the King of Supercross and 250 National Motocross Champion Jeremy McGrath. And all that excitement alone is enough. But it's round one, and there's nothing better in motorsports than not knowing exactly what to expect. And RJ, expect the unexpected in the 250 class.
Well, in the 250 class, some things haven't changed. Michael Moseman, Justin Cooper, and Jet Lawrence, all very fast. But the other Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence, was very quick, and Seth Hammaker put down the fastest time in qualifying. So a lot of great racing is being set up. We have 2 long motos today. The weather is perfect, but the sun is starting to break. I can't wait.
Absolutely, and a really rough racetrack to settle it today, Jeremy.
Track is tough. This track is notoriously have some big jumps. It's very technical. Going to be a lot of bumps out there. The guys are going to have awesome bike setup to get through these long, rough motos. Obviously, the weather's working out for us today so far, but we're in for some great racing.
Absolutely. Riders are out on the track right now taking their last survey until Moto 1 begins. There are a lot of contenders for this 250 title. Let's get to meet them.
My expectations for 2022 are very high. I expect to be in the title fight. I expect to win races. I expect to progress and to improve on years past.
Mentally, I'm refreshed, and physically, we're going to be ready to fight all the way through the end. And the goal is definitely the title this year, and I think I'll be, fresh and ready to go once that, round 1 comes around.
I want to be a top guy. I want to be a podium guy, but consistently. For sure, a top 5 guy. Week in and week out, and be somebody that's battling for podiums and battling for wins and be there all season.
My success in outdoors has kind of progressed each year. I feel like each year, I'm in a better spot or a better chance to be, a race winner almost every weekend.
Yeah, I'm really excited coming into the 2022 season with the #1 plate. I mean, we trained for this and we want to get a title, obviously, and to get to run the #1 plate. It's awesome. I mean, I remember dreaming as a kid just wanting to run the #1 plate because not many people get to run it. So I'm very excited. Hopefully, I can back it up.
I want to win the championship. You know, I want to take it from my brother. I want to be top 3 every moto, top 5 every start. That's the goals I set for myself. And you know, if I can do those and average top 5 starts, and that, I believe I can win the championship.
All right, let's introduce a new member to the broadcast team this year, Jason Thomas. Provide us with a trackside report.
So I'm down here on the start, and I know it sounds pretty typical and obvious to say how important the start's going to be today. But this start at Fox Raceway is critical because you have a pretty short shoot into the first turn. It's a hairpin, really tight. And what's going to happen is everybody's going to dive for that inside. They're going to run into each other and push wide. And we already saw an incident today between your fastest qualifier, Seth Hamaker, and last year's runner-up, Justin Cooper. So I think you're going to see more of that throughout the day. These guys are going to have to really be careful getting through that first turn, or they can ruin their day right off the bat.
Well, that was a crash, as JT mentioned, from the first qualifying session today. 20 seconds into the season, things happen in a hurry. We'll show you the rest of the track here, courtesy of the MX versus ATV Legends track map.
Well, that set me up perfectly for what I wanted to say. This is a treacherous first turn and second turn. We saw a crash in the very first practice. So as they go through there, they got to negotiate their way around into an unbelievable dragon back where they're going to be doing a lot of different things into a big tabletop. But MC, a lot of big jumps and a lot of different timing. Scrubs and send it.
We know this Fox Raceway is going to be very technical. Lots of big jumps. These riders love it. The question is, are they going to send it off these jumps? Are they going to roll them to save time? What are they going to do? The track's going to be deep. Got to keep the momentum. It's going to be some awesome racing.
As well as the lines are going to change. What was fast in qualifying might be fast in the first moto, but second moto when it comes around, you got to find new lines.
And these riders are very familiar with this track. It's a place that they come to and test and practice on quite a bit throughout the season, but it's about to be race time. We'll be back with the first moto of the season in the 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. They're gunning for Jet Lawrence, last year's national champion. Can he get it done again? And who is in the realm to be able to knock off the #1? Well, there are several riders looking to take that #1 plate away. Justin Cooper at the top of that list as he tangled with Jet Lawrence all year last year. He's coming back from injury and looked pretty darn quick in practice. Michael Mosiman is looking for his first ever national win. He got his first Supercross win this year. He is on the rise. Austin Faulkner back as a race winner in Supercross this year, looking to do the same thing outdoors. And when you talk about Jet, you talk about Hunter. Both Lawrence brothers are hungry this year.
Now there's a whole new group of individuals that are coming up and making this.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. General Tire. Anywhere is possible. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
Back here at Fox Raceway in Pala, Honda debuting their 2023 CRF line last night as part of this 50th anniversary celebration of the series, and for them as a race team here in the United States. General Tire menu. This is our broadcast times for today. First hour, we'll have our 250 Moto 1 right now. Next hour, 450 Moto 1. We'll come right back with Moto 2s at 6 and 7 p.m. And it's Easter time here from Fox Raceway. Now, time for the KTM keys to the Moto.
All right, well, one of the keys, I believe, is going to be the downhill speed. This track's going to have some bumps at the bottom. These guys are going to have to keep their speed. Also, to keep the speed, the bike setup has to be perfect. So look for that.
Well, we saw it in practice, and we could see it again. You have to survive these first two turns. We have a 180 left and a 180 right. Surviving that is the key, in my opinion, the key to this race.
All right, Fly Racing 30-second card is up. We've talked all about it. We've watched practice and qualifying. We've theorized. We've bench raced. Now it is time to go.
Well, here's the great thing. It's a 40-man tie for first place, and this is the only time that it happens. So everybody has stars in their eyes. They can't wait, and they all believe they have a shot at the championship. But those top guys from last year, we got to keep an eye on them.
Revs are up. Gates down to the 2022 season. Jet Lawrence, a good start today. Justin Cooper up the inside. Can he hold it in the 32? And he does. Justin Cooper to the lead.
The same battles we had last year. And here we see Seth Amaker working his way into second place, trying to get past, but no. Jet Lawrence holds on to second place. So top three guys are, Cooper, Lawrence, and Amaker.
Hamaker was the fast qualifier. Then it is Hunter Lawrence into fourth. So a good start right now for a lot of our contenders. And Jet doing everything he can to keep Hamaker behind him.
I'll tell you, this is what Cooper needed, right? We know he's coming off an injury. He needed some clean air. He's out in front. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for him. Now it's up to these guys to keep him in sight.
And we're going to see if Hamaker is for real. Won the qualifying sessions, both of them earlier. Can he keep pace in race form against arguably the three big names in this series? That's the Lawrence brothers and Cooper.
Well, and he hasn't had a lot of track time against these guys. And you start to understand, is the guy chippy? He's going to hit on me. Is he going to lean on me? But right now, he's learning as he goes. But this man with Hamaker was very fast in both practices as you see him challenging Jet for second place.
He's going after Jet Lawrence. Seth Hamaker is for real. This is only his third national due to injuries. He has missed a ton of time. He's barely ever raced motocross as a professional. You wouldn't know it the way the number 47 has been riding today in the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki.
That is a valid point. You know what? He's behind these guys. He hasn't been behind them a lot.
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of stuff that he can learn from right now. Third national. Is that third national? I mean, come on. Look at this guy. He's going to got the champ right in front of him. And, you know, look, the racer and him saying, look, let's get by this guy as fast as I can. But on the other hand, he's going to sit here and want to learn from him.
Well, if you can see, in my opinion, if you can see the leader, you just need to be patient. You need to be breathing, making sure that your heart rate doesn't get too high. You don't get arm pump, because a lot of times that happens when you've had a lot of couch time. Even though you've practiced and trained, racing is different. So making sure that he keeps control of his breathing. He's watching the two guys, because these two guys were the dominant factors last year. When it came to fast qualifying, Justin Cooper with 8, Lawrence with only 2 whole shots, Justin Cooper with 11, and Lawrence with only 1. So these are the two guys that have set the pace when it comes to it, and they're doing the same right now.
Oh, and Cooper had to hustle to cover that inside. Jet Lawrence is coming, but yeah, 11 whole shots last year for Cooper. So, Jeremy, that's you identified. That has always been a strength of Cooper, trying to control the race from the front.
Well, what you can see right now is you see Lawrence kind of varying off the line just a little bit to keep his eyes open, see what's out there. And again, one of the factors in the beginning of these races is the track is a bit wet, right? So they're kind of trying to go fast, but they're not going their fastest yet because this track's breaking in a little bit.
Hunter Lawrence is 4th, Josh Farese 5th, Forkner, Robertson, Pierce Brown, Levi Kitchen, Joe Shimoda. That is your top 10 as we go to the second lap of this 30-minute and 2-lap moto. And just as quickly as Jet put the pressure on Cooper, Cooper able to respond. And we got a crash here. This is Jalik Swoll, I believe. Oh.
And what happens, he just nipped the guy's back wheel, and now he's in a bad spot. It looks like maybe dislocated his shoulder, something with his right arm. Could be a humerus bone. But when in a situation like that, everybody's moving side to side, and he just happened to grab the back wheel of the rider in front of him, and down he goes hard because you don't have time to get yourself out. When you crash by yourself, sometimes you have enough time to get yourself figured out. But right now, I think what Jet Lawrence is doing, after I finish my thought with that, is that he's giving Cooper time to get away. That way, he's not holding him up. If you start running really aggressive at the beginning, that guy has to ride protectively. So right now, he wants to see what Cooper has and see if he's got something to stay with him.
And they pulled away a little bit from Hamaker in third, a little bit more from Hunter Lawrence in fourth. But, Jeremy, you're making the point the track's going to change quite a bit in these first couple of laps. And that's what I love about the beginning of the outdoor season. Everybody's kind of just feeling each other out right now.
Yeah, Jace, here's another thing. You know, Jet is a savvy rider. We know that, right? He's the champ from last year. But what he could also be doing is sitting behind a little bit, just enough where he's not getting muddy, right? Because we know the track's going to break in a little bit here. He's letting Cooper have 4, 5, 6 bike lengths, trying not to be in that roost all the time, and until the track gets a little bit dried out, and then he'll force his way right up to the rear wheel. So this could be a strategy. Obviously, like Rick said, look, if you can see the leader, you're in good shape. This is going to be a long race.
And Hamaker still running with them right now. Parisi still holding down fifth. And we got a pack right now. It's the 33 of Forkner, the 44 of Brown, and they've gotten around Parisi. So we're now looking at 5th, 6th, and 7th. And then Styles Robertson would be in 8th there on the number 50. That's the white Rockstar Husqvarna. So let's see what Pierce Brown has here on this 44. Ended the year in Supercross, a little bit of momentum. And he's right behind Forkner, who won a Supercross race in Foxborough, Massachusetts late in the year. So a lot of people believe the old Austin Forkner, who had the speed to run with anyone, is finally back. It was a disappointing summer for him last year. But Forkner has found the aggression again. So let's see if he can start to move forward. He's up to 5th. Can he catch Hunter Lawrence in 4th?
Well, Hunter Lawrence, very impressive. What did he say in the pre-race show? I want to get top 5 starts all the time, and I need to be top 3 finisher all year long. So right now, he's actually doing his job. He got that first 5th place start, holding that position down. Now, if he can still see the leaders, you can't lose track, because once, if you can't see them, you can't get them. And so my mechanic used to really push that on me, is you have to hang on to the leaders to make sure you keep them in sight.
Circulating just outside the top 10. You saw Derek Kelly there and Ty Masterpool, a couple of privateers. That is 13th and 14th. What has happened to Hunter? He's gone off the racetrack.
Got a little wide on the downhill there. Couldn't maintain his line. Did the safe thing, kind of went to the side, but you saw off track, off gas.
Oh, and Jet, we found out the same thing happened to him.
Just follow your brother. It looked like he had a good line. Yeah. Boy, these Lawrence brothers are connected.
Wow.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Must be in the genetics. Wow. So that is gifted a little bit larger lead to Cooper, 1.2 seconds. They didn't lose a ton of time, but you said, Jeremy, off track, off gas, you're going to lose a little bit.
Yeah, you lose a little bit, but they did the smart thing by keeping their composure, kind of being easy on the throttle. You never know what's off the side of the tracks in these days. Sometimes could be a ditch, could be something, as we saw, a little water hose there he was next to. So smart to be off the gas when you're off the track, but I don't think that's going to hurt him. He's got a lot of momentum. He's going to be able to catch right back up.
But we've also seen Jet Lawrence at the end of the moto pull in like 2 seconds on guys and do some pretty spectacular laps at the end of the race. So I don't really think he's pushing himself right now. He's got a good gap. He can just kind of take his time. But with Cooper has been out, that he's now back into the racing. So hopefully he doesn't tie up and get arm pump or get fatigued a little bit, because practice time is one time, but race time is completely different.
Yeah, Justin Cooper said he only has had about 5 weeks on the motorcycle. He said it was a good 5 weeks, but most of these riders have been racing since January in Supercross, but he had a foot injury that took him out of that, and it is beginning to tighten again after the off-track excursion. Jet Lawrence reeling Justin Cooper in as we were about to head uphill. Nice line or bad line there on the inside. What was that, Jeremy?
Wow, yeah, it looked like he was, that drone shot was crazy. It looked like he was going to be really tight there, but as you could tell, that was an off-camera, kind of pushed him wide on the exit. But we're going to see a lot of this all year long. And look, at the end of the day, for Cooper coming back off injury, if he can keep some momentum and get a podium here, he's going to be in really good shape.
Oh, wide line by Cooper. That might not have worked. He's just barely able to beat Jet Lawrence to the next corner. So we now have a battle for the lead and familiar foes. They've been at it all season long last year, and they've picked up right where they left off. Jet Lawrence on the number 1, Justin Cooper on the 32, and they're beginning to pull away from Hamaker and the rest of the field.
A crazy stat with these two. Last year at Fox Raceway, Jet Lawrence was first, Justin Cooper was third, but Justin Cooper never finished out of the top 3. Second, third, or first all year long, but it was the wins that really got Jet Lawrence in there. As we see,
he's trying to get one right now, still trying the inside lines, and Cooper again able to beat him to the exit. Side by side we go. Jet Lawrence, Justin Cooper in front of the crowd here at Fox Raceway. Jet's going to be on the inside for this next right-hander. He's able to finish the deal. Cooper's going to have to send it around the outside to hold the lead. Too far outside. Jet Lawrence, your new leader.
I have to say that track prep is good when you can see lines from inside, outside, and cross-ups, like that, and that kind of passing. That means track prep's good. Lots of lines.
I think, Jeremy, you had a great call when you were saying that Jet was hanging back, because now you see the roost isn't sticking to the guys, isn't blowing their tear-offs apart. So it's a really good, really smart move by Jet Lawrence. Now you see him out in front here at Fox Raceway.
All right, we're 10 minutes into a 30-minute and 2-lap first moto. So here's the question. Did Jet turn it up, or did Cooper begin to lose some steam? Maybe the rider that can tell us that story would be the third-place man, Seth Hamaker. Will he close on Cooper? So the champion is here, and he's serving notice. Jet Lawrence starting to get away. Show you our GoPro course preview. Show what it's like to ride from earlier today in practice.
So you can look at the track. It's very tacky, very low. I mean, this is the on-camber, then it shoots down to an off-camber. You see how the rider's got to lean in, then falls away. To get a good run coming up this hill, you got to be very smooth. Make sure that you don't get too much wheelie and you don't get too much wheel spin.
Wow.
Pierce Brown. That's a good view for sure. Pierce Brown running 6 right now, showing you how it's done. And our drone cam follows Jet Lawrence around, and I think we have our answer. Was it Jet turning it up or Cooper losing speed? The gap rapidly building. It's 3.3 seconds, and I was wondering if Hamaker could make a run at Cooper, and he has. We've got a battle for second here, RJ.
Well, Hamaker was very fast in practice, and that was, I got to give it to the Supercross King. He picked him. He said he's small, he's light, he's very fast and aggressive. He was the fastest qualifier as he starts to make time on Justin Cooper.
Did you guys see that right there? Did you see Cooper look back? We all know what happens when you start looking back, right? Start getting a little nervous. He can feel the heat coming on from Seth here.
Well, this was the worry with the lack of bike time with Cooper. The starts are there, the speed is there. He hasn't forgotten how to ride, but will he have the endurance early in the season, working his way back from injury? And he has a cavalry now to deal with, because it's not just Hamaker. Hunter Lawrence is there also.
On Justin Cooper, I want to throw a shout out to Dr. John Terragrosa, who completely rebuilt that ankle, did some pretty radical surgeries on that to make sure that Justin Cooper is back out there riding and is not holding him back. But as you said, lack of seat time is hard on a rider.
All right, Hamaker is there putting the challenge to him. Then it's Hunter Lawrence. Faulkner is 5th. We'll see if Faulkner can bridge that gap and try to make it a little bit bigger battle. You can see that group back there. Cooper's going to have to deal with heavy pressure, because you know that Hunter Lawrence doesn't want to sit back here off the podium spot. So he's actually closing on Hamaker as well. We got a battle.
Yeah, here's what's going on. Hamaker's like, man, I need to get by Cooper, but Hunter is right there, and Cooper knows that, right? So he's going to get these guys to tighten up. He's going to try to bring them to his speed. I think the key right now for Hamaker, he has to look past Cooper. When he gets close again, as you know, when you start looking at the guy, you start riding their speed.
And we are back here. Is that Cameron McAdoo out of this race? And man, oh, that does not look good at all. Bloody nose there, and he looks worse for wear. Man, he was injured at this race last year. Tough break for McAdoo again. By the way, we're back, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, and we'll be here almost every Saturday throughout the summer, including our next race next Saturday from Hangtown to that side of Sacramento, California. Tune us in at 4 o'clock Eastern. All 4 motos live each weekend on MAV TV. You're watching the battle for the number 2 spot in this 250 Moto 1. Justin Cooper has it. Seth Hamaker in green on the 47. And in the 96 of Hunter Lawrence.
As I'm watching Hammaker, he looks like he's a little bit sloppy. He's just not hitting his marks as good. He's pausing in the corner a little bit. He's not flowing as much. And you watch Hunter Lawrence as he tries to make time. He gets close, then he has to try a different line, falls back a little, but he's going to immediately catch back up. So if he gets by Hammaker, we're going to see another Lawrence going for second place.
Yeah, it could be the Lawrence brothers 1-2. That was a lot of the preseason buzz that they might be the stiffest competition for each other. But Hammaker, no pushover here, MC. He's trying.
Well, what this is doing is giving Cooper some confidence, right? Because he knows he's gapping these guys again when Hammaker was right behind him. Hunter, all he can think about is like, hey, man, I got to get by these guys so I can chase down my brother.
Yeah, RJ, talk about riding defensive as Hammaker would have to do right now.
Well, he's just trying to keep it up because it's different when you're chasing and being chased, and he's doing both. So there he loses a little time, and there we have it. Hunter Lawrence, small mistake by Hammaker, and Lawrence takes over his third.
Feet came off the pegs, and that was all Hunter Lawrence needed. So you can see Hunter has picked up the pace now on the aggression, and he's going to close right in on Cooper as well.
See, as we're watching Hammaker, notice just he's not flowing like he was in practice and qualifying. Like he kind of comes to the corner, little pause, leaning out, not leaning into the berm, not trusting the surface as much, and just looking a little bit off. I think he could be going with a little bit of arm pump, or maybe lost his breath a little bit. MC?
I think right now, him getting past right there is going to help him. Right? He's going to be able to relax. He can't hear a guy behind him. He's got a little bit of a gap there, and what he needs to do is kind of regroup. I see exactly what you're saying, RJ. He's kind of slamming the ruts. And you saw when Hunter went by him there was a big hook in that rut.
Yep.
And those kind of, if you're forcing it too hard in there, those are just going to be really hard on your body. And like you said, just not very smooth.
And this is not what anybody wants to see, is that Jet Lawrence is now 8 seconds ahead and riding very, very comfortably. Notice he has nobody pressuring him. Very smooth on the entry, very smooth in the middle, very smooth on the exit.
And he just looked over, didn't see much. We're halfway through this moto. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You know what that means? You'd save 15% or more on your insurance with Geico. And Hunter Lawrence is, yes, hunting down Justin Cooper, looking for the 1-2 for the Lawrence brothers and the Honda teammates. Justin Cooper's got another battle on his hands.
Well, with that, it's psychologically, it's got to be hard on Justin Cooper because you've watched the guy that you were racing with all last year drive away from you. You notice you can't even see Jet Lawrence in front of him. He is down over 8 seconds ahead. So that is something that is going to be playing mind on him and on his mind, as well as Hunter Lawrence is all over, because you can hear the bike all around you, MC. It's not just a matter of what you can see.
Yeah, well, there are two things. There's no better feeling than when you're leading and you can't hear the guy anymore, because you're like, wow, I'm gapping these guys and it's not that difficult. Now, one of the worst feelings is when you got a guy right on your tailpipe and you're like, man, how am I going to lose this guy and I'm not able to do it? So that's what you're seeing right now.
Same line that Lawrence used to get around Hammaker, and he's got Cooper as well. If he can hold it, it's a Lawrence brothers 1-2 here at Fox Raceway.
And that was that hook in the rut. That was the same. Hunter used that savviness and made a pass in the same line on 2 separate laps.
And Hammaker is still in the picture as well, so there could be more pressure being applied to Justin Cooper. So we've got our 50th anniversary season of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross underway. Throughout the races, we'll be profiling some of the great legends of the past. Stay with us. So Hunter Lawrence really looks to me that he just kind of let that come to him. He was in no panic in the early laps, and it all fell into his hands.
Well, watching him, I think that, Jeremy has talked about this, is watching the success of your brother, but they do truly love each other. It's not this, they hate each other, this competitive rivalry. I think they do want to beat each other worse than anybody else, but they work together and they're feeding off of each other, as we see both Hunter brothers on Honda, both Lawrence brothers on Honda 1 and 2.
Yeah, and the gap is huge. We saw Jet look over his shoulder a lap ago. Didn't see anyone behind him. Hammaker is still 4th. RJ Hampshire is now around Faulkner to take over the number 5 spot. Then it's Kitchen, Brown, Shimoda, Stiles, Robertson rounds out the top 10. But I think this was what everyone was worried about. Jet Lawrence was good enough to win this title a year ago. He was age 17, now he's 18. He might just be that much better and that much harder to beat.
Well, when we watched him early on, when he had that bad crash and he hurt himself in Supercross, he's like, I'm a 16-year-old kid. I'm going to go for it. This is my dream. He's got more the old bull mentality. He's going to walk down. He's not going to just run down and just grab everything he's got. He was doing exactly what Jeremy was saying, taking his time, not getting roosted, made his move. Now he's up to 8 seconds on his brother Hunter.
Yep, just got to control it here as we get into the final third of this first moto of the year.
You could definitely tell he had a lot more in the tank, right? Because as soon as the track came in, he poured on the afterburners there, and he gapped those guys 5-6 seconds in about 2 laps.
All right, so Jet Lawrence has this thing under control over Hunter Lawrence and Justin Cooper. After 2 successful seasons running championships in 500 and 250cc categories, the American Motorcyclist Association decided to add a development class to the motocross schedule. The idea was to give young riders an opportunity in the National Series, and that is how the world met a long-haired, California cool teenager named Marty Smith, considered the first teenage superstar of American motocross, and an idol to many. On his way to earning the first 2 125 national championships, Smith would guide his Honda to 18 moto and 8 overall wins throughout 1974 and 1975. And Marty would add a 500 class title to his trophy room in 1977, besting his rival Bob Hanna by just 24 points over the 6-round championship. After his retirement in 1981, Marty Smith stayed active on the racing side. He won the 1991 Baja 1000 as part of a motorcycle team. Marty and his wife Nancy died in a dune buggy accident on April 27, 2020. Marty Smith was inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame in the year 2000, and the AMA Motocross Rookie of the Year award is named in his honor. And there's the legacy of Marty Smith. And RJ, I know a lot of people grew up with him as the role model in this sport.
Well, Marty Smith was my hero, and he then became my friend. I met him when I was 9 years old, racing the XR75 down at Speedway 117. But here's Marty Smith. I dislocated my hip. I was in the hospital by myself in St. Louis. The second day, I got a call from Marty asking me how I was. And my phone was going quiet, but Marty Smith was that kind of guy that cared about everybody around him, and an unbelievable champion. We'll miss him and Nancy. She was a sweetheart.
Absolutely, and that's a long part of the legacy of this sport, 50 years of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Here we are. The cavalry is coming. It is R.J. Hampshire on the move. He has made some passes. He's gotten around Hammaker, and now Hammaker has to deal with his teammate, Austin Forkner. So it's coming unraveled for the 47 real quickly here.
Wow, nice move by Forkner there. Do you see him? He doubled over when a lot of the guys earlier were kind of rolling that section. Made a nice pass on Hammaker. Not sure what's going on with him. He must be tightened up for sure, but boy, he's got his teammates all over him.
Yeah, and Levi Kitchen here in the 59, and they are going by in a hurry. So a big change in the second half of this moto for Hammaker, and that's the bad news in the 250 class. If you're a little bit off, there is no shortage of riders coming through traffic.
Well, and we talked about, we've been redundant on this, but when it talked about, there's practice time and there's race time, and you can see how his elbows are up. He's having a hard time hanging on. So if I had to put money on it, I would say he's got arm pump and he's probably just not breathing quite right. So now the cavalry is coming. The peloton has caught him, and now they're starting to go by. A bad deal for Hammaker.
So a reset at Justin Cooper still third, R.J. Hampshire to fourth, then it's a 33 of Forkner, then Kitchen, and Hammaker trying to hold off yet another teammate in Joe Shimoda. Pierce Brown and Styles Roberts would be next, and that would round out your top 10. Levi Kitchen, didn't get to see him much in Supercross. It's kind of the future of that Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing team. Justin Cooper here is now under pressure from R.J. Hampshire. So now Cooper is going to have to fight through these final 8 minutes and 2 laps just to land on the podium. And Hampshire is as determined as they get. He will fight you with everything, so it's not going to be easy on Cooper.
Now, if you notice on the face of that, it's starting to get slick. So depending on what tire you went with, which I'm pretty sure everyone went with kind of an intermediate style tire, but it is definitely getting hard. But I want to repeat what Jeremy said earlier. They did a great job grooming this track here at Fox Raceway. Notice we got guys inside, outside, all over the place.
All right, Justin Cooper under pressure. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas and get a report from Cooper's team.
I'm down here with Daniel Castle, Justin Cooper's mechanic. Now, Justin has not raced since the finale at Hangtown last year. Missed all the Supercross season, so a really long way off. Got off to a great start, and Is it just trying to get through today, or what's the approach?
Yeah, honestly, just trying to get out of California. Top 5 in points, top 3 in points. If a win's there, take it. But you're right, he hasn't raced since Hangtown last year, but he did go 1-1 there last year and then on a good note. So obviously for him, shooting for podiums no matter what. But the motocross start's going to leave California. We know that. So.
Now, we saw a crash early on in practice today. Is there any ill effects from that, or we think it's going to be good to go for the rest of the day?
We're good to go. We're a little bit sore, but we'll be good to go. He's a racer, so when the gate drops, it's game on.
It was, because he got the whole shot and led some laps, but now R.J. Hampshire, ever determined, able to get around him, so that'll put Hampshire into the third place spot. And it's kind of the same thing for Cooper as it is for Hamaker, just trying to bring this thing home. But here comes that cavalry.
Man, there is a hornet's nest behind him now. He's got his hands full. Got Forkner coming there, Kitchens, also Shimoda.
Yeah, Shimoda starting to make moves, crossing in front of Kitchen. They almost came together.
Oh!
Whoa, Kitchen almost goes flying. Able to hold on to it. Forkner and Cooper now dicing. This is for fourth.
This goes back to what Jeremy was talking about, the keys when it comes to different stuff, about the uphills and the downhills. But some guys are scrubbing it, some guys are sending it, trying to jump out there a couple bumps, because that's what happened in the 80s when Americans were dominant in Supercross. It took that style to motocross. Is you all of a sudden now you over jump 3 or 4 bumps out into the straightaway. So using both styles, scrubbing and sending it.
The good thing is look at this. You see Forkner on the outside. He's going to get the speed, but he kind of screwed up the entry a little bit there going up the hill. It looked like he was going to have the mile per hour, but didn't get it done.
Cooper's still fighting, keeping that Yamaha as wide as he possibly can. Forkner going to take another shot at it, and this time he gets it.
Nice move up the inside. See, Cooper's just starting to, he must be just getting a little bit tired at this point in the moto. This is pretty late in the moto here. And then
he's going to get double passed here. Kitchen around the outside, and Shimoda's trying to do it as well.
And that's a little salt in the wound when your teammate goes by you.
Yep, so Kitchen overhauls him. Same thing with Shimoda. Shimoda and Kitchen have been battling the entire way. This has been pretty fun to watch. So this is what the Star Yamaha needed with Cooper. You'd argue that he's the favorite for the team, but he's coming in off an injury. So they need some of these young kids to develop quickly, and Kitchen looks pretty good right now in the 59. He is in 6th and trying to hang with Forkner.
And once again, when we talk about that ankle injury, that was a few years ago, that would probably be a career-ending field. But Dr. John Terragrossa did some radical surgeries to it, and it's great to see Justin Cooper out here riding, giving 100%. But right now, his 100% is not the same as it was, the same Justin Cooper as it was at Hangtown last year with the full season of racing.
Yeah, he's missed about 4 months off the motorcycle. It's showing right now as this Kitchen and Shimoda battle continues to rage. All right, so this is good stuff. The Lawrence brothers continue to lead Jed over Hunter. Hampshire has moved into 3rd. Forkner on that 33 is in 4th, and not too far behind Hampshire. Hey, a great addition to the series this year. This is what we call our staging area show every Friday night, live at the track of the Monster Stage from 6 to 7. We had Axel Hodges and Jeremy Twitz-Stenberg to bench race with last night. Myself, Jason Thomas, Jeremy McGrath, who joined us, along with Rob Bidas. And we got the crowd pumped up. And then once we had that going, we gave the crowd a real show. It's pit bike racing and a big monster freestyle demo. It was a really fun way to hang out on a Friday night at the racetrack.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
Yeah, freestyle's come a long way since Jeremy McGrath pulled a couple knack-knacks and blew our minds back in the day. The whip train definitely had this crowd in a frenzy on Friday night here at Fox Raceway. Back to our leader here, nothing new to report. Jet Lawrence in complete control of this first moto of the year as the countdown clock continues to roll away. 2 minutes, 45 seconds and 2 laps left. And for good measure, his brother Hunter is in the number 2 spot. R.J. Hampshire, Austin Forkner battling behind them, 3rd and 4th. Levi Kitchen is 5th. And we got the retro livery there on the Hondas this weekend for the 50th anniversary. That gear looks sort of familiar there, Rick Johnson.
It's a little bit of play off of my 1986 gear. It was pretty awesome. I got to meet Jet Lawrence Yeah, it's actually the second time I've met him, and he still didn't know who I was last night. So I said, hey, can we take a picture by this poster? And he's like, why by the poster? I'm like, because I'm the other guy on the poster. So, pretty cool deal. But no, such a sweet kid, so smart. At his age, the things that he talks about, then we got into conversation about boots and flexibility and rideability and things like that, as well as what he does on the bike. He's a special character. I mean, his brother is an unbelievable stud, but this young man right here, carrying the number 1 plate for a very good reason, Jeremy, in my opinion, is the guy.
Oh, man. I mean, what we're seeing at him at such a young age. When I was 17, I was still racing amateurs. I mean, what we're seeing out of him, he's definitely a phenom. And it looks it's so good to watch. You know, the techniques he brings out, the thoughtfulness he does when he's out on the track, and the lines he chooses. I mean, it's pretty awesome to watch.
All right, under complete control right now as we get ready for the 2 laps to go sign for Jet Lawrence leading this moto. Okay, so imagine this. Sprint cars on a quarter-mile track for 500 laps. So let's throw in a 3-wide start and some pit stops to boot to make it even crazier. It is the Lucas Oil Little 500. Catch all the action at 9 a.m. tomorrow, only on MAV TV. Jet Lawrence leading this moto. We're going to give you the whole shot replay and show you how this one began. It looked like it'd be a whole shot, actually, for him. But eventually it was Justin Cooper that grabs that Motorsport whole shot.
Justin Cooper comes in, gets to the inside, and you see Jet Lawrence as he starts to work and put himself in a safe position to make it out. We see one of the riders going down, but the top guys making it out of those 2 turns, all safe. But Justin Cooper really starting where he finished off last year.
Yeah, unfortunately, not quite the endurance to hold it down to the end. Justin Cooper, your motorsport.com whole shot, but he has drifted all the way back to the number 9 spot. And that's what you're worried about coming into the season injured. Would he have 30 minutes plus 2 level fitness? Not quite there for Justin Cooper, but it is here for Jet.
As we're watching Jet, a very interesting fact. His last lap was a 2:18. His best lap is a 2:17. His brother Hunter is just under a second a lap behind him. So he is still clicking away, and now he's got an advantage of 10 seconds. Jeremy, right now, you're thinking more about second moto, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think, look, you can't get caught up in relaxing too much, because we all know when you relax on the tracks, your mind starts to wander. You start to make mistakes. What I like about it when you're in the lead is I always like to call it chase the rabbit, right? Yep. Just keep chasing the rabbit till you see the checkered flag. That way the mistakes are minimal and you can get it to the end in a safe fashion. He's got a nice lead. He can breathe. He's not stressing over anything, but he's got to keep forcing it all the way till the checkered flag.
A couple other positions have changed here. Hampshire is still 3rd, but Joe Shimoda has gotten around both Kitchen and Faulkner. So Shimoda is 4th. This is Faulkner on the 33 in 5th, and Kitchen just keeps applying the heat from the number 6 spot. Now Pierce Brown on the 44. That is Detroit Lee Designs Red Bull Gas. He's in the hunt as well.
Faulkner made a mistake there going up that section. Do you see him, his bike flick out to the side? Now he's got all kinds of pressure here from Kitchens.
Kitchen, he tried the outside. Faulkner didn't give him any room. Kitchen going to try the outside again. Here's where they're about to go uphill. Kitchen's got some serious speed here. Rick Johnson, look at that move.
Use the momentum. And a lot of times that was that off-camber corner we were talking about. And where Kitchen did is use the outside to carry the speed around the outside. If you run the inside or the middle, you're kind of tiptoeing your way around because you are off-camber. There's a small berm, but it's hard to get that drive out of the corner. And Kitchen did a great job using that momentum to pass Faulkner up the hill.
And so Faulkner, a little bit of a struggle early in the moto, great in the middle of the moto, now drifting back a bit in the final stages of it, losing positions to Shimoda and Kitchen. That'll push him back to 6th, and it's not over because Pierce Brown is 7th. Seth Hamaker, who was in the lead group early, is in 8th. Then it's Cooper, and then Styles Robertson.
Well, Jeremy, you were talking earlier about Justin Cooper, and now we see Austin Faulkner starting to look back. That's a telltale sign.
The telltale sign of looking back is you're nervous. You're like, oh, no, I don't know if I have enough fitness to get to the end of this thing, or you're feeling the heat, right? I mean, the worst thing as a rider I think you could be doing is worrying about the guy behind you, which I like to call looking in the rearview mirror. Yep. You never want to do that, right? You want to look for the front, try to stay on the guy's fender in front of you. when you look back, it's a sign of trouble.
Here's Brown. He knows that rule as well, so he's got to have a little confidence when he sees Fortner looking back at him. Hey, credit Joe Shimoda. He is going to push R.J. Hampshire right to the end with about a lap and a half to go. The number 30 is fourth, trying for that final podium spot. We go back to Fortner versus Brown. But Brown getting all the way off to the side of the racetrack, looking for some smooth real estate. So we're going to call our Thor battle box, where we'll give you two things at once. Our leader, Jet Lawrence, there in the lower right. As we keep an eye on this battle, Kitchen trying to hold Fortner back. Fortner trying to repass his way into the top 5.
As we watch Jet Lawrence down in the lower right, he's basically doing a practice session. He's watching his lap times. He's trying to beat his lap every time. He's trying to relax, trying to do everything, but he doesn't have that man-to-man combat, which sometimes can key you up. He's in a perfect position right now. This is a very dangerous Jet Lawrence, Jeremy.
And how do you maintain that speed, RJ? You see it on the board, right?
Yep, every time you come around, you know, well, I tried that outside, I was a half a second off. I tried the inside, I was a second better. Whatever the case might be, because now he's searching around a little bit. He's still, as Jeremy says, but I always tell my riders, and I always tell myself, don't count your money. Don't think about your acceptance speech. Don't think about any of that. Think about every rut, every groove, because these guys are the fastest in the world. But what he's doing now is looking around so that for the second moto, he's got eyes in the back of his head. He can try some different things.
A lot of people complain that the Lawrence brothers get too much hype, too much attention, but I don't know what more they can do to prove that that hype is legitimate. Jet winning the last 2 championships he's competed for, Motocross last year, Supercross this year. And Hunter was a close second in the 250 Supercross West campaign as the white flag comes out. Finished behind Christian Craig, won a whole bunch of races in his own right, and now they are 1-2 in the first moto of the year. To have teammates 1-2 is impressive. To have brothers and teammates 1-2 is practically unprecedented, and for all the hype that had coming in, they've lived up to it so far.
Well, I mean, I didn't have a brother. I had a sister named Lori. I still have a sister named Lori that was a big fan and you know, was very tough on me growing up. But I did have someone who was like a brother to me, and that was Brock Glover. He was older than me. He was one of the first factory stars right after Marty Smith and Tommy Croft and Marty Tribes and stuff down in El Cajon.
Brock will be in the booth with us next week.
But Brock was the guy that I could learn from, and I could see what I wanted to be through him, whether it was having it, if you wanted a nice house, if you wanted, you know, nice cars, if you wanted to live a good life, you had to put the work in, and I learned that from Brock Glover. And you know, Jeremy, I know you had a bunch of mentors as you were growing up, but imagine having a brother.
You didn't have to live with Brock.
Exactly.
Right?
Thank
Especially
God.
when you started beating him.
I love Brock, but I don't think we could live together. It would be Felix and Oscar, and I'm the pig pen.
I think from what we can tell as fans, these guys, Jet and Hunter, get along well. They're challenged by each other. Jet, of course, doesn't want to get beat by the older brother, Hunter.
Yep.
Hunter's like probably, you know, very motivated by Jet, the younger brother, kicking his butt sometimes. But look, these guys are at the top of the sport. They're running 1 and 2. Like Jason said, that's unprecedented. I mean, for these guys to be doing that is pretty darn cool.
Well, and if anybody doesn't believe they deserve all the hype, they need to go somewhere else, because these guys are the real deal, and they deserve all the attention that they're getting. We see the lap rider putting his arm out to kind of let him know, hey, I'm not messing with you. Whoop. I'm trying to get out of the way. Let me get out of the way.
Yeah.
And here we're watching Jet Lawrence as he winds down just a couple more turns, and he is going to be our first round winner at the AMA Pro National at Fox Raceway.
And by the way, Jet Lawrence has raced here at this track 3 times, and he's been the overall winner all 3 times. Now, I asked him about that during the week, and he said it's actually not one of my favorite tracks, but can't really argue with the record. This is only the first moto of the day, so he's not the overall winner yet, but he's taking big steps to being 4 for 4. Jet Lawrence wins the first moto of 2022 and points right at that #1 plate. He's the champ. They've got to go through him if they want the title, and he just served notice that that is going to be a very, very difficult task in 2022.
That was fun to watch. That was quite a display. Put on a clinic for those guys, and you know, he's just patient at the beginning. As soon as the track came in, put on the afterburners, pulled that gap, and just had a nice friendly ride.
Lawrence, Hunter finishes second, Hampshire, Shimoda, Kitchen, and Fortner. And Brown comes across in 7th, and that's really the thing with Jet. I know he's young and successful, and a lot of people, you would assume that's because he's wild and he hangs it out. But it's actually quite intelligent the way he approaches a race, MC.
He is very calm, cool, and collected. I mean, the guy, you can tell he has been studying this sport for a long, long time, and he's been watching his heroes and figuring out the way he wants to do it, and man, he's making it look good.
And there's Hunter, brothers 1-2 to start the season.
When you watch the two of them, they're not getting too enthusiastic. They're not too excited. They congratulate each other, but now they also know that it's going to come down to one of them unless they have a massive problem. So I love the intensity and the camaraderie between the two brothers.
An amazing journey. Two young Australians. They traveled through Europe to make their way to the United States, and at least in the early part of this season, they're 1-2.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive.
Okay, first moto of the year is done in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, and that team, Honda HRC, went 1-2 in it. Hunter and Jet Lawrence, second and first. RJ Hampshire finished up in third. Let's give you the highlights of the first moto to Lucas Oil race recap. Jalik Swoll going to get tangled up in another rider here and go down. Looks to be hurt. He gets off of the racetrack, so unfortunately his moto was done immediately. Up front, Justin Cooper had grabbed the whole shot but was under pressure from the number one, and there is the move from Jet Lawrence. Jet
Lawrence starts to work his way through, and as he goes by, very smooth, and immediately put up a 2 to 3 second lead in about 4 turns. So Jet Lawrence leading off with that, obviously why he has the number 1 plate.
Oh yeah, now bad news here. Cameron McAdoo, we spotted him headed back to the pit area. Must have been a big crash for him. So that's not the way he or Swoll wanted their season to begin. McAdoo's as tough as they come, so hopefully he'll be back fairly quickly. Then back to the racetrack. Here's the battle for the number 2 spot, MC.
Looks like Hunter Lawrence here making the pass on Justin Cooper while Justin was having a little bit of trouble keeping the pace. Faded back a little bit in the race. Pretty surprising, but he's getting going.
Yeah, he started with a whole shot, but he has not been riding the motorcycle much. And here's more trouble. A big pack behind Cooper here. It will eventually be RJ Hampshire getting by him. And this would put the number 24, the Rockstar Husqvarna rider, into 3rd place. And that would set our podium positions in front of Shimoda and Kitchen, who are 4th and 5th. No challengers for Jet Lawrence down the stretch. Final margin of victory, 6.6 seconds, and he points to the number 1 plate, showing you why he's the champion there by taking the first moto of the season. All right, Jet Lawrence is on the podium. We'll send it down there with Jason Thomas.
Now I'm down here with Jet Lawrence. Now, Jet, you come in here with the number 1 plate. You've never lost an overall at this race. You go out there and win that one pretty easily with your brother in tow. How easy is this for you right now?
I mean, it's not easy. The track's pretty, it's pretty like tricky right now because it's not like heaps of ruts. So a lot of the time we're like trying to bank off stuff and then kind of tinkle-toe around some on the flat. So it's definitely a little bit difficult with that. But no, it's a perfect way to start off with the Lawrence brothers going 1-2. Hopefully it's the same way in the next one. Hopefully I can just pip him, but we'll see. He's looking good this year. I mean, once he got in the second, we stayed the same. So it's going to be whoever gets the better start out of Hunter and I. So no, I'm excited. It should be a good way to start off, and can't wait for the rest of the next Moto 2.
Yeah, no reason to not be ready for Moto 2 and excited for it when it goes that well. It'll be fun to have them start together in battle as we get to our Lucas Oil results here from the first Moto. As I mentioned, Hampshire rounds out the podium. Shimoda wins that battle. He was in it deep with Faulkner and Kitchen. He comes out on top. Pierce Brown was right behind them in 7th. We'll go outside the top 10. Cooper going all the way back to 11th. The fitness just not quite there yet. Max Volan, Varese, Kelly, Drake. And we'll give you the majority of the field here. Ty Masterpool just back from injury, 24th. 40 riders do compete in each moto. Swoll and McAdoo, as you see there, they had those early crashes we showed you in the highlights. Noah Viney making his pro debut, 35th. So a lot of lessons being learned out there, and we'll send it back down to the podium with JT.
I have Hunter Lawrence, your runner-up in the first moto. Now, that had to feel a little bit like a practice moto. You and your brother just riding around out there together. I mean, I'm sure you were trying hard, but certainly didn't look that way. Walk us through it.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously 1 and 2, it's good good for the family and stuff. Great way to start off the season. We're definitely in the hunt. So 23 more motos to go. And yeah, it's a tough track. It's not one that you can really override and use too much strength and muscle the bike around. So you got to be smooth and technical.
All right, that's Hunter Lawrence finishing up in the number 2 spot. And yeah, it's kind of like a practice moto at home. They do all their riding together during the week, so why not do it in the motos as well? Here's our upcoming schedule brought to you by Honda. Next week we'll be at Hangtown in Northern California. I'll be joined in the booth by Brock Glover, 6-time champion of this series. Then we'll go to Thunder Valley in Colorado. We'll actually have Moto on NBC there, and we'll welcome Ricky Carmichael to the booth for that. Then it's High Point, Redbud, and Southwick to go to the eastern part of the United States. Spring Creek and Washougal, Unadilla in upstate New York. Budds Creek Ironman, and we'll end it right here at Fox Raceway September 3rd in the 12th of 12 rounds this year. Let's finish up our podium. Send it down to RJ Hampshire with JT.
I have your 3rd place in Moto 1, RJ Hampshire. Now, RJ, there's a little bit of uncertainty about which class you were going to race, if I understand that correctly, coming in, but it certainly didn't seem to derail you today.
Yeah, we've put in some good work. Wish my start was a bit better on that, but stoked on how we feel today, how the bike is. Clicked off a pretty solid moto there. So get a better start second moto, and hopefully can challenge the Lawrences.
Yeah, there was some testing time. They were almost putting him on a 450 for the summer. He lost a little 250 time, came around pretty quick. That cavalry back there, there was a good battle, Jeremy, behind the Lawrences. Is anybody going to get in there and challenge them out of that group, though?
Well, here's the question. Are these guys going to get better starts? Because you know Jet is, right? Mm-hmm. Justin Cooper ran up front, had a little trouble with the fitness at the end. He's healing from injury. A lot of good guys from that 3rd to 5th to 6th spot. I mean, we're up for some great battles.
Can they get in there?
I gotta go with Joe Shimoda. He surprised me. He was getting faster and faster all the time. So if there is anybody that can give the Lawrence brothers a little bit of a hard time, I'm going to say it's Joe Shimoda with that Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Obviously, Mitch puts a very, very fast bike underneath these guys, and he was the guy. He's going to be the guy to do it.
Yeah, a lot of hype for the Lawrence brothers right now, and a lot of other teams probably not too happy about that. They're going to reset for 250 Moto 2, which will be in a little over an hour. But we have the highly anticipated opener of the 450 class coming up next. Eli Tomac, has been a renaissance season for him. Same for Jason Anderson. Ryan Dungey coming out of retirement. Antonio Caroli, the 9-time world champ, coming over to the United States to race for the first time. So many great stories. 450 Moto 1 will be coming your way next on MAV TV and MAV TV Plus. What a great day to be at the races and celebrate. And RJ, hey, it's Southern California. No better place to kick it off.
Well, and this guy, Chase Sexton, was our fastest qualifier. Very impressive. He's running some different stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit different. He's got a different shock on the back of his bike. But Jet Lawrence, very, very fast in that first moto. I can't wait to watch the 450.
Yep. So Honda's in control of the 250 division. We'll see. They are also 1-2 in qualifying in the 450s with Chase Sexton and Ken Roczen. 250 Moto 1 in the books. It was a Lawrence brothers show. Justin Cooper was up front early, not able to hold off Jet Lawrence, and Hunter would bust through to take the number 2 spot. Thanks for watching 250 Moto 1. Congrats to Jet Lawrence. We'll be right back with the 450s.
should go prep some of those corners. I agree. Because then they have that racing.
Exactly. I agree. Not flat the whole track, but just the ones that are super deep.
The follow the leader section.
Yeah, exactly.
The nip and tuck. It's a little nip tuck. Yeah. Yeah. Track's getting a little old. We got it. Track's getting a little old. Smooth the wrinkles. On the eve of the Pro Motocross opener, word came down that defending 450 class champion Dylan Ferrandis will miss the first race of the year with an injured thumb. Which 450 class superstar will rise to the occasion and grab the early momentum at Pala? We will race under the California sun, but the stars will be out when the gate drops on the 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to California. Jason Wygant all year. I'll be joined by legends in the booth today. It's 7-time AMA National Champion Rick Johnson and the King of Supercross and 250 National Motocross Champion Jeremy McGrath. We're talking our 450 class and the huge news. Last year's champion Dylan Ferrandis already out. He crashed on this racetrack a few days ago and tore a ligament in his thumb. So Rick Johnson, it's more wide open than ever.
And we have some surprises. Fast guys, we have plenty of them. Eli Tomac looks very, very strong. But we have two surprises out there as well, and that is that Tony Caroli and Ryan Dungey, both in the top 10. But it was Chase Sexton who pulled off the pole position by 1 second over his teammate, Ken Roczen. So unbelievable weather conditions. Great racing coming your way.
All right, so great riders and a great lineup. Jeremy, talk about the racetrack where they're going to do battle today.
Well, I can tell you this. The weather is cooperating. It's going to be a nice, cool day of racing. These guys are going to be stoked. Track is treacherous. Lots of uphills, lots of downhills. Got to carry a lot of speed. Bike setup's going to be key. Going to be some great racing out there today. It's going to be tough.
Okay, and there are so many contenders for this 450 National Motocross Championship. Let's get thoughts from some of the key contenders as they head into the 2022 season.
My expectations for 2022 Motocross Championship is I'm going to go out and I'm going to pretend like nothing happened doing Supercross. I still have confidence in myself and I'm going to prepare myself really good. So I hope we can get some good racing in and get back on the podium, hopefully have some wins in there. And up until now, every single year I've been battling for a championship, and that is my goal again. You know, I want to shoot high, and I know that I can do it.
To be honest, to be able to break through in motocross and be able to get some of those wins, I think it's just going to take, a good mindset. For me, I think I really need to be enjoying myself, and I need to be, just keeping my middle of the weeks really good. So I'm excited to show up to the races and do battles. So for me, I've always enjoyed outdoors. I'm really looking forward to it.
Expectations of 2022 are obviously winning. I like winning. Nothing feels better than winning. So definitely going after those wins.
We're going to have great momentum going into motocross, and it's just because we all work so well together, and that's just having the team together and everyone being on the same page and everyone kind of going with the same tune. So I'm excited just to get going with it.
All right, just some of the contenders in our 450 class. But the stars in qualifying, at least, were the Honda boys with Chase Sexton and Ken Roczen. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas with more on the boys that are riding red. JT?
Well, today's been an incredible ride so far from all of the Team Honda HRC. Next up are Chase Sexton and Ken Roczen in this 450 class. Now, Chase Sexton was your winner at one of the rounds here at Fox Raceway last year, and Ken Roczen was your Moto 2 winner at this racetrack last year. And they came out swinging this morning with two of the fastest qualifying sessions of the day. So it's up to them now. I'm seeing more red at the front today. They've just been on fire all weekend long.
Yeah, they were 1-2 in our 250 class moto that just finished with the Lawrence brothers. Here we go again, and we'll show you the racetrack now that these riders are going to be competing on. It is the MX versus ATV Legends track map.
All right, as we watch, the first thing you got to get through is this left and right-hander 190-degree turn. As they come through the other, got to survive that. It was clean in the 250 race. Then it goes into a drag and back into a lot of big but Supercross-style jumps, Jeremy.
The track is going to be treacherous, lots of big jumps. One of the key things is bike setup. There's some big bumps on these downhills. Going to have to carry a lot of momentum, a lot of speed. You know how that goes. It has to be consistent through the whole moto to get it done. And they got to get to the finish line with a lot of momentum, a lot of speed.
And now with a little bit of water on the track, it's a little bit hard and slick, so those first couple laps are going to be treacherous, but you got to watch the lines in the corners.
So that is our MX versus ATV Legends track map. Dylan Ferrandis, your defending champ, is out at least for the weekend and the foreseeable future. He had to get surgery on his thumb after crashing here on Tuesday. That is a heartbreaker for him, but there is no shortage of star power in this class, even with him out. Of course, led by the three-time champion of this class, Eli Tomac, who was absolutely on fire en route to the Monster Energy Supercross title earlier this year. Ken Roxon is back and rejuvenated. He's a two-time 450 national champ in this series. And Tony Caroli, the 9-time world champion. Before he retires, he wants to check this one off the bucket list and race in the United States. Ryan Dungey is back. Has not raced professionally in 5 years. Justin Barcia said he wants to race to win. See if he can get it done.
Dude, Roxon's jersey looks like your jersey. Yeah, just like exactly what's going on here. You're the inspiration. We got a mullet.
They just went. We have 50 years, but we're all picking one. We're picking 1 year out of the 50. We're just all going in on 1 year. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Who you got for the whole shot? Sexton. I'm going Anderson.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think Anderson's in a good space right now.
But for some reason, I mean, the Yamahas get so many whole shots outdoors because they're so fast.
Yeah. All right, Craig then. I don't know about Eli for a holy.
Yeah, I think Craig could be. Yep. That's a good pick. Say cheese.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. General Tire. Anywhere is possible. And by Honda. Celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
And Monster Energy bringing some freestyle into opening ceremonies here for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Even more stuff for the fans to see and do. What a great weekend we have had to kick off the 50th anniversary celebration of this season. Oh, Steen Wilson out with injury right now, but a lot of the riders have houses in this area. They're still coming out to the races to interact with the fans and their friends. So we are ready. 450 class is up next. First moto of the year, Fox Raceway at Pala, California. Of course, we race 2 motos in each class. We'll be back the next 2 hours, 250 Moto 2 and 450 Moto 2. And we'll have a Tuesday night post-race show right here on MAV TV at 6:30 p.m. All right, time for the KTM Keys to the Moto.
Well, one of the things these guys are going to have to do is keep their momentum. There's a lot of uphills, a lot of downhills with a lot of bumps. If you don't get the drive up the hill and down the hill, you're going to lose a lot of time. So look out for them to keep some speed up these hills and down them.
Absolutely, definitely with the 450, but I'm going to say it's line selection. You can see the berms go all the way to the edge side to the outsides. They're using a lot of the insides. Lines are changing all day long. You got to pick the right ones to win.
All right, Fly Racing 30-second card is up. We're about to drop the gate on the first 30-minute and 2-lap moto of the year in the 450 class of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. So many stories. Ryan Dungey coming out of retirement. The 9-time world champion Tony Caroli coming to the United States. Eli Tomac getting his old momentum back with the Monster Energy Supercross title. Jason Anderson riding better than ever. Even with our defending champion Dylan Ferrandis out, if anything, it has led to an even more wide open field, and it all starts right now. Ken Roxon up the inside. Big battle right there. He's able to grab that motorsport.com whole shot. Shane McElrath at number 12. The white Rockstar Husky right there with him. Eli Tomac in third, but Roxon, no surprise, back with a vengeance here in motocross.
Eli Tomac with a great start on the inside. Didn't get the whole shot, but this is a dangerous Eli Tomac. He can see the leader. He can see Roxon, but he also has Chase Sexton right behind him. And there, Ryan Dungey in the top. So, MC, that's got to make you feel good.
Ryan Dungey in the top 5 after 5 years off. That's pretty incredible. He's got to be feeling the nerves at the moment, and he's going to be able to check the pace of these guys and the speed that he has missed over the last few years. Pretty impressive.
Tomac taking the measure of McElrath, who is a late fill-in. We just saw Dean Wilson hanging out of the infield with injury. McElrath is the fill-in on that bike. Good start for him, but here comes the competition. Christian Craig on the 28, and also Sexton on the 23, with Dungey with them as well. Oh, the fans are absolutely loving this. We might be set for another classic Roxon versus Tomac battle, but you know that Sexton RJ is motivated to go with them.
Absolutely, and we got to watch the first lap. Everyone gets so excited because you can see Ken Roxon has got himself a pretty big lead. Once these guys settled in a little bit, you see the guys just start to once again use the lines and everything. As we see Eli Tomac making a small mistake there, but Chase Sexton working with McElrath. I think we're going to see a lot transpire throughout this race. It's not just going to be, this is not what we're going to see at the end. Jeremy?
You know, like we've seen in the past, these guys want to go so fast right now because they're so excited. But look, the track is only going to take so much. There's a little water on the track. It's slippery in spots, so they have to be patient. But you see right now, Sexton losing a little bit of time to these guys because he's not forcing it enough. He needs to work his way past McElrath in a hurry so he can keep up with that lead pack.
And McElrath missed a lot of time in Supercross with a concussion. Only has a few weeks on the bike. So I talked to him earlier, and he's in a little bit of a tough spot. He's trying to prove to this team that he could be a full-time guy all summer. Right now, he's only contracted for 4 races, but he's also working his way back from injury, and he hasn't raced much really in the last 2 seasons. So he's trying to ride within himself, but also impress everyone that's watching this event. So far, so good for the number 12, holding off Sexton. There's Dungey hanging with Craig and the rest of the field.
On the 250 podium, we listened to Hunter Lawrence saying that you can't push this track. There's a lot of ruts. You got to work yourself side to side. Both him and Jet made comments that this track is very tricky. As you can see, it's starting to dry out a little bit, and those hard edges are coming up. So depending on what your tire selection, your suspension selection, it's going to change throughout the day. But right now, as Jeremy said, Sexton has to make a move and not lose sight of the leader.
Yeah, because Ken Roxon's first lap speed is lethal. They are already 4 seconds up here on this battle. McElrath versus Sexton. Sexton's going to have the inside here. He's going to send it. Can he get the Honda to stick? No, McElrath is not taking it.
Great commitment by McElrath. He knew that he was going into a left into a right, so just hold the outside. But here comes Sexton up the inside.
Nice line selection there. As you talked about, Rick, you know, he went outside, kept the momentum, made a pass up the inside. Nothing he could do about that one for sure.
But it was good racing, even though that McElrath, sent it in there pretty hard. He didn't take him out, didn't brush him or anything like that. It was just good, clean racing. And that's what we have to see, because contact is part of motocross. Just not taking the guy out at the legs. That's what we got to watch out for.
Okay, so you see there in the lower right, that is Roxon and Tomac. Ken Sexton closed the gap on them now that he's gotten around McElrath. And McElrath will have more pressure. Christian Craig, very fast on this racetrack. He's a Southern California native, so Craig knows his way around here. So he's going to be there applying pressure on the number 12. But Ken Sexton, who was the fastest qualifier, closed down on the leaders.
Chase Sexton, and one of the things I was talking to him and also the Team Honda guys at Trey Canard, that he is running what they call a BFRC shock. It's the same thing that Tim Geiser ran over there. To explain that, it's a shock that all the valving is done inside the shock body and not in the reservoir. So it's a different shock that Ken Roczen is running, but Chase Sexton really likes the feel of it. He says it feels more positive. He can read the bike a little bit better. So something new and innovative. It's been around for a while, but these guys are starting to reuse it, and it's looking great with Chase Sexton. But the guy in front is Ken Roczen. He's got the other style.
Yeah, his Honda looks pretty good as we focus back in on Craig. Now, Craig is your new champion of the 250 Supercross West campaign in Supercross, but usually he moves up to the 450 for the summer. He did last year, and he's back again this year. But Craig has already signed a full-time 450 deal for 2023. And as we were talking about last night, Jeremy, you got to figure now Craig is like, I'm not just here to learn the 450. I got to show everybody that I'm a contender. I'm serving notice for next year that I can run with these guys. And so far, so good for the 28. And here's a battle we wanted to see. Something old, something new. Ryan Dungey, the old champion of KTM, and their new recruit this year, Aaron Plessinger, about to do battle.
When I talked to Ryan yesterday, I was wondering why are you doing this, and he said, for me, it was sort of unfinished business with himself, that, you go from being a full-time racer, started racing at 5 years old, and Jeremy, you know that schedule. It's every day, everything that you do is to be a better motorcycle racer, and then you go from that to being at home all the time. He didn't go from that to sitting on the couch and getting fat. He's always stayed in tremendous shape and always continued to ride, but he said, you know what, I want to go back and be competitive. I think it's going to be the best thing for me, for my wife, for my son, everything that I got going on, and I am unbelievably impressed that he is running this strong, running actually now in sixth place.
Got Plessinger all over him. We had Caroli behind them. Caroli last year's lost spot. Shout out to Alex Martin on the Muck-Off FXR Club MX Yamaha. He is in 8th. This is his first 450 national for Alex, who had traditionally been a 250 rider. There you see him. And now we see Antonio Caroli, the 9-time world champ out of Italy. He's 36 years old, but do not let that fool you. He can still go fast, and he is cagey all week. Everyone talking about his approach, how he studies the racetrack, how he studies the other riders. It's going to be fun to have him on board this year.
Well, after talking with him, his big thing was he didn't get a chance to do a lot of motos. He's done a bunch of laps testing for KTM over in Europe, but he said the first couple of motos he did, so he showed me his hands. They were scabbed up a little bit, red and some blisters and stuff, and he said, you know what, if I'm not in the top 10, I'm not going to continue to do it. Right now, he is solidly in 9th place, but the race is not over. He's one of those guys, as you said, very cagey, very racy. He's going to keep getting faster as the day goes on, or the fitness is going to catch up to him, or we'll wait and find out.
Yeah, he told us yesterday it's really going to be down to, mistake there from Caroli. Almost goes down. He said for him it really might come down to just being able to adapt and be efficient, because he knows the fitness isn't quite where it was when he was a full-time racer. Only started doing 30-minute motos last week. A lot of the riding he's done this year, testing for KTM. You do a lap or two, you pull in and change the motorcycle. So we're seeing him try to learn. And by the way, they don't get much time on these racetracks in practice. So for him, Jeremy, it's going to be a steep learning curve. You get about 2 laps, and it's hammered down on these tracks.
Yeah, a lot of these guys that are in front of them are riding this track on a weekly basis. Fox Raceway has open practice in the middle of the week. A lot of these pros come out here and ride it. They're used to this dirt. They're used to the lines. They're used to looking around, seeing what's out here. This is obviously a different configuration for the Pro National, but he's definitely had a setback when it comes to that, but still very impressive. Like RJ said, running the top 10 is pretty awesome.
And 10th place, a name I had not heard, Josh Gilbert, who's out of the United Kingdom, is on the 323. He was fast in qualifying. He's in 10th place right now. And Roczen's lead is actually stretched a little bit over Tomac up front. It went from 1.9 to 2.6. So far, so good for Roczen's return to racing after missing a couple of months of action in Supercross. So many stories to tell here. But up front, it's a familiar one. Round 1, Ken Roczen knows how to start season strong. And that's exactly what he's doing here. So Ken Roczen, I don't think this is a surprise, looking good. He always looks good in the motorcycle. And he's starting to actually stretch it more and more. Each time we get the splits between he and Tomac, Roczen is absolutely on fire right now.
Well, and he took some time off. He said he had a bout with with feeling sick and it wasn't feeling good, and maybe it was the best thing he could do. I can't remember in my career where I would have ever done that. But he knows his body. He's a very highly trained athlete, and he's been through some unbelievable injuries, how he survived with that hand injury that we saw a long time ago from Anaheim Supercross. But right now, evidently, he's done the right thing because he's carrying it. But here we see Chase Sexton has moved into second.
Well, we noticed that Tomac was losing a lot of time to Roczen, and now he's lost a position. So MC, not what we expected here from Tomac. Honda Boys 1-2 again.
We look back a few laps ago, we saw Chase Sexton behind McElrath kind of getting held up a little bit. And like I said, the track was a little wet in the beginning, right? So he obviously figured, hey, I got to pour on the steam now. He got by McElrath. Track looks really good. These guys really hauling the mail at this point. Made the move on Tomac, but now he's going to see if he can chase down Roczen. I think he's going to be able to do it. Let's see what happens here.
Well, if we look at the times, Ken Roczen had a 2:18.1 and Sexton had a 2:17, so a half a second quicker that last lap. If he can keep that momentum up, we're going to see him chip away at that lead on Ken Roczen. So Chase Sexton is the man on the move right now.
Yeah, and only 10 minutes into this moto, so we're really just getting started here. As for Tomac, small question mark coming in due to the knee injury late in Supercross. We'll see how he holds up as the moto goes on. We're just getting started with Lucas Oil Pro Motocross for 2021. We're at round 1 in Southern California. We will head to Northern California next weekend for round 2. That's Saturday, June 4th, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 o'clock local. This is a really awesome celebration for Honda, celebrating their 50th year in American motocross. Rick Johnson, you were there on hand as one of Honda's great champions of the past, and they unveiled the new bikes, the 2022 team. And they're having some success on the racetrack today, so it is a Honda weekend.
It is a very, very strong weekend right now for Honda at this point. First motos are looking very good. But you know what? I got to give you my top 10 of all-time Honda great riders. Number 1, Gary Jones. 2,
there he is on the left.
Marty Smith, Donnie Hansen, Johnny O'Mara, David Bailey, Jeff Stanton, Jeremy McGrath, Ricky Carmichael, and the new Jet Lawrence.
You forgot yourself there, RJ.
Well,
you gave us 9.
Okay, and me.
All right, you're putting yourself in the top 10.
No, I put myself, I'm somewhere in the top 10, but no, I was very proud to be part of that group. As we're watching, I don't want to take anything away from here. Chase Sexton is chasing down his teammate, Ken Roczen, right now. He has got that lead down to just under 2 seconds.
Well, it was a Honda 1-2 in the 250 class, first moto. Honda 1-2 in qualifying in the 450 class. A Honda 1-2 early in this first moto. Oh my gosh, Chase Sexton just threw down a 2:16 lap time, by far faster than anyone on the racetrack.
Pretty impressive. The key to this is going to be, it's always fun to do the chasing. When he gets there, is he going to be able to make the pass?
All right, here's our motorsport.com whole shot replay. Roczen up the inside.
Jay McElrath with a great start around the outside. He's loving all that horsepower, but Ken Roczen starting off where he left off here last year, loves this starting line and did a great job. Actually ran away from everybody these first 2 laps. Unbelievable how quick he started this race.
So there it is, motorsport.com. Whole shot is Ken Roczen. How long can he hold it? Because now Chase Sexton is on the charge. And Sexton's feeling it right now. We're away at break. I caught both of you guys using the hand motions, really liking what you were seeing. What did you both see first, RJ?
What I saw is just his timing, his impeccable with where he stands up. He reminds me of David Bailey so much. Even with that number 23 that David used to run, it very much looks the same. But David was that kind of rider, very clean, very strong, lower body, big legs. And Chase Sexton, you can see, he's a specimen. He's unbelievably strong. Not taking anything away from Kenny Roczen, but I just love his timing, where he's sitting, and how he's accelerating. Jeremy?
I watched Chase, and I mean, technically, he is so sound on that bike. It's just so fun to watch. Like we talked about with his standing up in certain sections, he just really pretty to watch. And it's almost sneaky fast speed. You watch him and you don't notice how fast he's going, but look at the time he's making.
Yeah, it's pretty noticeable now. He has eaten up the gap that Roczen had. Now Roczen will look over his shoulder. He knows it's his teammate right there. Sexton chooses to follow. And we're going to come back across the starting line section here in a moment. And we saw some passing in this corner in the 250s. But right now, Sexton again just following.
The mindset that Chase Sexton has right now is that I know that I can catch him because I've done it twice now. I can try this outside. He can start doing a little bit of line searching and then put the best together. And then when he does, or if he does pass Kenny Roczen, he can put a sprint and put all the best lines together. So he's in a good spot, and Ken Roczen has no idea where he's going. Only knows when he's on right on the inside of him.
Hey, Roczen had that look over his shoulder, realized Sexton is there, and the next couple of corners, he's actually been able to stretch it. So a good battle up front. And how about the man on the move? Eli Tomac is still third. Ryan Dungey has climbed to the number 4 position in his first race in 5 years. Unbelievable. He's gotten around Craig and McElrath. He's holding off Plessinger. This section of the track, though, clearly working for Sexton as he closes back down on Roczen.
Look at the bite he gets from the inside. He's running the inside lines, carrying all that speed. Look at that.
Oh, this could be it. Outside, turns into inside.
Wow, that was a cool line from Ken Roczen.
Yeah, Roczen holds that outside and holds on to the lead.
You guys see that? He jumped down that little downhill, right? That was really, really cool. Creative for sure.
Well, MC, that is what Supercross brought to motocross back in the 80s, because we were doing that, you know, when we would go to the nations and stuff like that, double and tripling bumps and quadding and jumping 6 or 7 bumps in, using them like a double jump and not just trying to hit every bump like old school motocross. So that's the evolution. Was way before your time.
Well, we've always seen that from Ken Roczen. He's real creative out there. Got a lot of cool lines.
Hey, we're halfway through. Whoa, and the berm almost blows out there on Sexton in that right-hander. We're already halfway through this moto. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You can save 15% or more on your insurance with Geico as the Honda riders exchange lines and lap times and also cool riding techniques. You really can't do it much better than either one of these, and the fans are getting into this as well. This is a fantastic battle. Sexton up the inside. Contact between the teammates.
There you go. That's alpha male right there. I'm going to come in and rub you a little bit because I want to be the number one guy in the paddock, because it's one thing to get beat by another factory rider, but you want to be the fastest guy in your tent. So right now they're shooting for alpha male status.
Wow, I do not think Roczen expected that one.
You know what? That was a sign of, hey, you're in my way. Get out of the way.
All right, this is good. This section of the track, a little bit better for Roczen on the previous lap, and he's doing it again. Adds a little bit of gap between himself and Sexton, but the other side up by the hills have worked well for the 23. Let's check out this contact again, RJ.
Look at the box. You see Sexton as he goes. He gets a good run coming over here, then shoots to the inside, and then he, little bit of run over. That could have been very nasty. I don't think he was trying to take him out, MC.
Well, you could see he had a lot of momentum. Ken closed the line down, really leaned the bike down into his front fender, which probably did Chase a favor because didn't let him high side.
Ooh, Sexton sent it off that jump into the braking bump, bottomed out, almost crashed, and still is going to take the lead.
Well, and we haven't seen Kenny really do a lot of retaliation. When he gets leaned on, he doesn't lean back, but we might see it right here because you got brushed on. We saw him look over his shoulder, but now Sexton's got a good run. Jeremy?
He picked up the line right there.
Yeah,
you guys see that? Sexton is no dummy. He grabbed the same line as Ken did the lap before, recognized that it had some speed, made that cool little double down the hill, carried the speed around the outside, and Ken's going to have to do all he can to stay with him.
Yeah, and that's going to be disheartening. When somebody catches you from a long ways back and then starts to pull away from you, now Sexton has enough room where he can run his line. So in my opinion, what's happening with Kenny right now, he's watching his lines and going, what was he doing that I didn't know?
All right, so Chase Sexton going to run the point position here. Give you the GoPro course preview and show you what it's like to be on board one of these bikes. This is from qualifying and practice earlier.
That just shows you how tight this first 2 turns are. There's the the left into the right. We see Justin Barshing look to the outside, but now that opens up the inside for the other guys.
That's what it's like to ride here at Fox Raceway at Pala. We'll be right back. There's more action on this racetrack. Cover it when we return. How about this? Ryan Dungey has caught Eli Tomac for 3rd in his first race in 5 years. Dungey made a living on the podium, and he's getting right back into position for it.
Well, Jason, I got to think there might be something up with Eli's knee because he was 3 seconds off the pace when it came to Ryan Dungey. Ryan Dungey did a 2:20, Eli Tomac with a 2:23. So did he is that knee flaring up with him?
Oh, and feet off the pegs, an uncharacteristic mistake from Tomac Dungey. Dungey trying to get him. Now, in Supercross, when he was riding with that knee injury, Tomac said he was good in the first half of the race, and then it started to go away. And that might be the case here. Ryan Dungey is up into the podium position.
Unbelievable. With Christian Craig now going by Eli Tomac as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a problem here for the number 3.
Yeah, we don't see this happen with Eli Tomac, so something is wrong with him. Hopefully it's not a bad injury, and he'll be strong in the rest of the year, but something's up.
Unbelievable what Ryan Dungey has done, and shout out to Christian Craig, who's going to push Dungey all the way down to the end. He would love that podium spot. And Craig is doing his job because Ferrandis is out and Tomac is struggling, and he's going to try to put the Yamahas up on the podium anyway. Dungey's going to have to fight for it. Craig is riding well.
Yeah, Christian Craig is obviously coming off a very strong Supercross, the Supercross West Championship. And I got to throw kudos out to Mike Craig, his dad. Won the Tampa Supercross, was a factory Yamaha rider. We didn't hear much about him. But you know what? Christian Craig doing a great job.
Hey, it's the 50th anniversary celebration of this sport. We're talking about great legends and rides of the past. It's almost like we have a time machine going. Ryan Dungey has returned to racing. He has not raced this series in 6 years, and he has moved into his customary position, 3rd place up on the podium. He passed Eli Tomac to do it. Tomac is struggling big time right now. We presume it might be the knee injury he was carrying coming into this season. But the battle for 3rd is not over. Christian Craig is trying to run with the number 5. He makes a few mistakes. He's able to pull Dungey back in. So this battle is not done.
Well, we have definitely the young and the old. As we look back, we watched that pass between Dungey, Craig, and Eli Tomac. You can see here comes Dungey, starts to set him up. Eli Tomac made a small mistake. Notice how he's keeping the feet off the pegs. But watch here, small mistake. That holds up Ryan Dungey a little bit, and then right around the next corner, comes to the inside and takes it away. Followed by, in his draft, is Christian Craig. We see him come around, and he's right there as well. So something up with Eli Tomac.
Expect the unexpected here. Ryan Dungey up to 3rd, but Craig right behind him. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas.
I'm down here with Monster Star Yamaha's Jeremy Coker. Now, roller coaster week for you. You lose Dylan Ferrandis, the defending champion, to injury just before the race. You got Eli Tomac running around out here, a charge from Christian Craig. Walk us through the moto so far.
Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking to lose Dylan right before the season. To not be able to run number 1 plate, it's heartbreaking for us and for him. Fortunately, we have 2 amazing riders still on the team, and it's proving right now. Eli Tomac is an amazing rider, and Christian Craig's out there fighting for a podium, so it's awesome. Actually, just made the pass for the podium by Dungey, so it's going good. The team's just got to keep it up.
And yes, Craig does make the move on Dungey. He just didn't give up a couple big mistakes, and he kept charging for it.
Well, I think for Christian Craig, seeing Dungey in front of him was probably some motivation, right? He's like, hey, I can pass this guy. He hasn't raced in a while.
You don't want that. Yeah, exactly.
But we know Dungey, he is just strong. He's picking up where he left off. He's Mr. Consistent when it comes to podium finishes, and such a great champion. So it's surprising to see him up in the top 3, top 4, but man, he's doing great.
Let's take through the pass here, RJ.
See Ryan Dungey look over to the inside, like what's coming, where's he coming from? And then Christian Craig right around the outside, carries his momentum, comes up. But what I love is notice Ryan Dungey holds his line, does not crisscross over, puts himself in a safe spot. Now he's watching Christian's lines to see where he was losing time to him.
Not losing time, by the way, is Ken Roxon. He is kept close to his teammate, Chase Sexton. They're telling us on the screen here it's only 1.8 between the teammates. There's a couple of lap riders. The rider on the inside is your leader, Sexton, and there is Roxon. So this might not be over, especially with the lap traffic holding up Sexton.
Well, lappers can definitely play a big part, but you can see that Sexton's trying to make his move and then use him as a pick. So if he can go in there, mess that rider up, and block them back a little bit, that'll give him a little bit more space. But it can either hurt you or help you.
And Roxon got a little better out of that exchange. Hit the lappers in the right spot. Sexton going to drop the hammer and try to extend the lead again on his teammate. It has been an all Honda show so far here at Fox Raceway. 1-2 in the first 250 Moto of the year. They're looking to be 1-2 in the first 450 Moto of the year as Sexton leads Roxon.
Sexton and Roxon continue to exchange fast laps up ahead. That is Craig third. Dungey. Tomac's just trying to hang on now. Just ran a 2:24 lap in fifth. Plessinger behind him in sixth was a 2:21. And fastest man on the track right now is actually back in seventh place, Jason Anderson. So a terrible start for Anderson. But the Kawasaki man is up to seventh. More lap traffic for Sexton to deal with. A shout out to Josh Mosman there, who just went a lap down. He is a journalist now, former pro, working at Motocross Action Magazine. Decided to come out and see if he could qualify. He made it into the show. Just went a lap down. But great job for Josh. His brother Michael is, of course, a star in the 250 class. Pretty impressive for a guy who's not a full-time racer to have qualified for the 40-rider field today. And Sexton starting to stretch it back out. Roxy gave him a brief challenge there.
Well, and that's the thing. If Roxon was going to make his move, I think he would have to do it there. Now you can see that Sexton is inching away. If Roxon could pull that in, I definitely think he would, because now's the time of the race with just under 5 minutes to go. Jeremy, you don't want to sit back. You're not playing a game now. You have to go. You have to charge. You have to make your move now.
Yeah, absolutely. He started to gain a little time, and he's not pulling it back now. So.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
Ricky Two-Hip Johnson was one of Honda's great champions of the 1980s, a leader on and off the track for both speed and style. And Johnson stood out in a stable of Red Riders of that era, including fellow AMA Hall of Famers like David Bailey, Jeff Stanton, and Jean-Michel Bale. Plus, his outspoken podium speeches and relentless style on the track made him a fan favorite in what just might be motocross's most competitive decade. Johnson was so famous, he became a hero to an aspiring fellow El Cajon, California racer who would go on to win 7 NASCAR championships. His name is Jimmy Johnson. RJ would capture his first 250 National Motocross Championship in 1984 on a Yamaha, besting Honda rider Ron Lachine by 8 points. Then Johnson moved to Honda in 86 and really turned it up, earning back-to-back championships in 1986 and 1987. And in 87, he would double up on AMA Championship hardware by also taking the first of 2 consecutive titles in the 500cc class. After a successful career on 2 wheels, Johnson would find success in stock cars and off-road truck racing. He would win multiple titles and establish himself as a true leader in the off-road racing community. Rick Johnson is a member of the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame and the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. All right, and thanks to MX vs. ATV Legends video game for bringing us those bios. RJ, my inspiration back in the day, no doubt about it. Sure, Jeremy McGrath maybe was taking some notes as well.
Oh, yeah. That's my man. RJ's my man.
That's awesome. As we celebrate 50 years of history, we'll have bios on all the champions of this series as the season rolls on. Great to be in the booth with you two today, Jeremy McGrath and Rick Johnson. We'll have Brock Glover in the booth next week at Hangtown. And we might be looking at a future legend of the sport right now. Chase Sexton has turned up the heat, and what has happened? Our timing and scoring is showing Ken Roxon no longer in the number 2 spot. We'll have to see if that's timing and scoring or if Roxon has run into a problem. Sexton, no problems at all here in the lead, and looking good in more ways than one, not just on the stopwatch, but the style, something that everybody talks about.
But just take a look at the left category. A 28-second lead and 34 seconds over Ryan Dungey. So something definitely happened. Obviously, I think Roxon went down. I'm just speculating, but you can see that he's back up. Actually, no, he still keeps falling back further and further. So we will find that out. We'll try to get that. But this is the man as we watch Ryan Dungey as he works his way through. Kudos to this guy. Top 3, but he has a Jason Anderson right on his tail.
I'm not sure what happened to Anderson early at this moto. We didn't see him, but his lap times have been unbelievable as of late. He has consistently gone green. Fastest laps on the track the last 3 laps around. He is flat sending it on that monster Kawasaki.
We did see on the start, he got buried in the pack. So he's had to come from behind Ooh, whoa, Dungey getting sideways up that hill. You see that? I mean, Anderson's got to see that and go, all right, man, I gotta get by this guy. But yeah, what an incredible moto from a bad start for Jason Anderson.
He'll put some pressure on Dungey. These two used to ride and train together, so we do have some familiar foes on the racetrack. Some, though, Dungey has never raced, so it'll be interesting how this plays out throughout the year. This would be for 3rd and 4th as we try to get an update on what has happened to the 94. And if he is indeed out, it would move Dungey to 3rd and Christian Craig all the way up to 2nd. And time running out. Okay, it is a transponder error. We do not have a problem for Roczen, so he is in the number 2 spot. Good news, sigh of relief if you're a Roczen fan. So yeah, his transponder just didn't pick up last time through. We were looking all over to see if there was a 94 down somewhere, but he's just still circulating, and he's fine. So this is actually the battle for 4th and 5th. There is Roczen. All systems go for him. No problems for the 94.
But still, we do not see Sexton in front of him. Sexton has a controlling lead right now. So right now, Kenny's trying to figure out, is there going to be some changes? These last couple laps, if you have a problem or you get beat like that, MC, you can chime in on this. You're thinking about, what are the changes that I'm going to tell the guys? You know, are we going to do some stuff to the motor, make it more rideable? Are we going to change my tire? Or we talk to the Dunlop guys?
Oh, there's Anderson up the inside.
Anderson
Dungey let him have it.
Yes, Anderson's shooting up the inside, and Dungey just kind of moving away. He's not going to put up a fight, not going to run a dirty race, because he's not sure if he's going to run the whole season. But to finish my thought about Roczen, what he's going to do is think about the changes and try to come back stronger the next time out.
He's going to look around the track. He's going to be searching for lines because he's going to go, man, how is Chase getting away from me, right? Obviously, he's thinking about the bike. He's going to get in the pits, talk to the mechanics, figure out what he can maybe adjust, maybe make a change to make him more comfortable to be able to ride a little faster lap time. But right now, with such a cushion back to 3rd, he's going to be able to look around, take a look at different lines, see what happened to the track, and see how it developed. Look, because getting 2nd at a national like this in Moto 1 is as good as winning the Moto. You can still win this overall, without a doubt. You just need to fine-tune it a little bit for 2nd Moto.
Yeah, but you just hate to lose those 3 points between 1st and 2nd. So for those of you that are new to this, between 1st and 2nd is a 3-point gap, and then it goes 2-2-2 almost all the way back. So when you watch Jason Anderson, this guy rides looser than anybody else out there because he grew up in New Mexico, hard-packed dirt, which that's where I think a lot of the Southern California guys had advantages before. But you watch him, he can lose his front wheel, and he's very comfortable with it. He doesn't have a problem with that whatsoever. So he is a man on the move. Once again, right now we see Kenny Roczen with a 2:17 has the fastest lap the last time around. So maybe Roxon's making a push now.
And Roczen is actually still in the number 2 position. He's not picking up on the transponder feed on the left side, but he is in 2nd, and he just turned in the fastest lap the last time around of anyone on the racetrack. As we go back to Dungey, definitely want to give Craig credit, though, looking for that Moto podium in 3rd. But what an impressive comeback for Ryan Dungey. I think there were a lot of people worried that you can go undo some of your legacy if you come back. And, I say pride speaks a little too loudly. You come back and think you can get to your old level. He is not that far off of his old level here.
He is riding great. It's pretty impressive. And, I had him probably, to be honest, a 6 or 7 in the Moto. But, man, he's really throwing it out there today. Getting, like RJ said earlier, expect him to hit his stride at round 2, round 3, round 4 when he gets used to this speed again. But, man, what an impressive comeback here.
Last year, they actually had him come out to California to test the motorcycle. A bit of a struggle outdoors for Cooper Webb and Marvin Muscan, who were the motocross riders last year, both not racing motocross this year. And Roger DeCoster said they put Dungey on the bike, and he said, I saw podium speed. So there's been no doubt that he still knows how to ride. Now, although, RJ, you were saying, we know he keeps in shape. Dungey's a fitness fanatic. There's nothing quite like that last percentage of being a full-time racer, so he's got to work his way back into that.
Well, there's nothing like being in your 20s either.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about you.
Know that from experience, right? Yeah, we can all talk a little bit about that. But the one good thing for Dungey, so known for consistency, he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear as far as big injuries. He was always pretty healthy his whole career.
Well, as we're watching right now, we're watching Chase Sexton out front, and there we see Ken Roczen as he starts to go by. So Chase with a pretty comfortable lead at this point. We're down to 2 laps to go, but you can see how much harder it's getting. All that soft dirt is moving off to the side, and it's getting pretty sketchy. The guys are losing the front wheel a lot, like I was talking about with Jason Anderson. But MC, Did you, growing up in SoCal, did you like the track when it got like this or dislike it?
Well, look, back in our day, when being in Southern California and growing up here, lots of hard pack tracks, right? It took me a long time to learn how to ride the soft tracks with ruts and all that. So that was an adjustment for me riding back on the East Coast, especially in the mud since we don't really get much rain out here. Those are the things I had to get used to. But today's track is a lot like, at least the first motos here have been a lot like the East Coast track. We'll see how it shapes up for Moto 2. It is getting hard, as you can see, getting a little more hard pack. But as I said earlier, these guys ride here quite a lot. They're used to this place.
Well, Sexton sure looks like he's used to it. Hey, Anderson is not done. After disposing of Dungey, he continues his torrid charge. And with 1 lap to go, he has Christian Craig in his sights. This would be for 3rd.
And I said this during the break, Christian Craig, fresh off a Supercross West Coast win. You know what? Got to throw a shout out to his dad, Mike Craig, was a Tampa Bay Supercross winner. Team Yamaha. Oh, big mistake. Not a huge mistake. He can make that back up by Jason Anderson. But to finish the thought about Christian Craig, you got to throw a shout out to his dad, Mike Craig. You know, to watch his son go on to win a championship like that has to be unbelievable. But right now, Christian Craig has his hands full with Jason Anderson.
Yeah, and Craig moving to the 450 outdoors each summer, looking to start the year with a podium. And how about that? A team that has Dylan Ferrandis, last year's champ, and Eli Tomac, a 3-time champ. The first Yamaha home, it looks like it's going to be Christian Craig. It has been a bit of a struggle in the second half of the Moto for Tomac. We presume that's because of the knee injury he was carrying coming into this race. He is in 7th, but Craig is representing the Yamaha Blue Crew well. But Anderson is back. He made up ground after that mistake. You said it, RJ. He is loose on that bike.
and you know, I had the pleasure to work with Jason when he was on Suzuki's, you know, back when he was a little kid. And just the biggest thing for me when I was coaching him, you don't have to pass everybody on the first lap. And you watch how aggressive he is and how strong he is and how committed he is. Unbelievable champion, obviously a past Supercross champ, but he wants to win that national championship.
Yeah, he is aggressive right now. Last lap is going to come down to this battle for 3rd. Roczen is secure in 2nd. You see Sexton down to the lower right, headed for daylight to try to win the first Moto of the year. A year ago, it came down to the wire in this first Moto of the year between Sexton and Ferrandis. Sexton is making good on it now. Dylan Ferrandis not here today. Sexton looks great. Crowd loving this battle between Anderson, who sent it again and crossed over those ruts.
And what we're seeing out of Anderson is he's hitting those ruts, and it's wanting to stand him up, right? But what he has to do is he has to accelerate through that to keep from crashing.
Checkered flag is out. Sexton has taken the win. Roczen is going to hold on for 2nd. And that final mistake might be enough. Yeah, the charge is over for Anderson. So Christian Craig going to put it up on the podium. And that's why you bring 3 riders to the races. Tomac's ailing. Ferrandis is out. Craig doing it for the Blue Crew. He'll come across on the 28 here in a minute. And Anderson going to have to settle for 4th. There's Craig. And Ryan Dungey, his return to the sport, is going to be top 5. And instant replay of what we saw in the 250 class. 2 Honda riders come in to sit down next to each other, 1-2, and they do it again in an immediate debrief between the teammates.
I'm watching to see if there's a little angry.
Yeah, I made a mistake over here, and then I think that's same allowed when I went almost over the bar.
Dude, I overjumped that jump behind you. I did not mean to. I thought I struggled before I landed on.
And there it is, Sexton, when I came into you. I did not mean to do that. Looks like it's all good between the teammates. We'll be right back here. Fox Raceway at Pala. All Honda all the time so far this weekend.
Dude, it's so square in here. My bike came back. I didn't mind that. That line in the back and double. It's so much easier. Oh, yeah, I get time. I did it first lap. I know, I'm like, you Hershey going on there. I know that's how you do it.
This is incredible. All right, we're going to take a quick break and get you out there. We'll work our way down to the road here and check in. Get on the gas. The Alpine Stars SuperTech M10 helmet is the lightest and most protective helmet Alpine Stars has ever made. The carbon composite shell eliminates excess weight. Alpine Stars fully adjustable headliner offers a secure fit. And the SuperTech M10's proven 4-way interior construction helps disperse energy across the helmet and away from your head. Alpine Stars helmet. Invest in what matters and enjoy the ultimate ride. The FM10 helmet. Alpine Stars protects. Parts unlimited. The people behind.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
All right, we are back. Monster part of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship this year. So it's what they call the Rig Riot. They bring all their athletes out, and they hook the fans up with some swag. Let's get into our Lucas Oil race recap. 450 Moto 1 earlier. The whole shot, Ken Roczen able to control it on the inside. A good battle between he and Shane McElrath for that #1 spot. Roczen just going to edge him out to lead early. Got one Honda up front. Let's make it two. Chase Sexton catches his teammate Roczen, and surprising, a little bit of incidental contact here, Rick Johnson, between Roczen and Sexton.
Right here, we see him, he kind of comes in, but then he backs off. Now, if he was trying to take him out, he would have drove through him, and there we see Sexton just overjump and send it, get into full head shake, but then it was the Chase Sexton show. We drove over AMC.
Chase Sexton looked really good. He was probably 4th or 5th on the start, had to make some time, caught up, went through these guys, and here we see a battle between the old schoolers,
Yeah.
Tomac and Dungey.
I don't think people thought we'd see Tomac and Dungey battling for a podium. And in the end, got to believe it's a knee injury for Tomac. After a couple of minutes, he started to fade back. Dungey gets around him for 3rd, but Christian Craig would not give up on it. Even after making some mistakes, he just kept digging and digging and digging, and he would take the measure of Dungey here, Jeremy.
Well, Christian Craig making a nice last pass here at the end of the moto, staying strong. Here we have Sexton coming through with a nice, easy victory. Probably a relief in his mind.
Yeah, way to start the season. And holds off Roczen down to the end. So Sexton, who's always been good at this racetrack, does it again. So he fires first in a 24 Moto Championship. 1 down, 23 to go for Chase Sexton. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas.
Down here with Chase Sexton. Now, Chase, you were fastest in time qualifying today. Clearly the fastest in that first moto. You worked your way through the pack methodically to get to the front, and yeah, really dominating moto win.
Yeah, that's what good rides are made of right there. I didn't get the best start. I spun a little bit on the gate and just had my work cut out for me past a few guys, and Kenny and I had a good little battle there, and overall was just feeling the flow and just having fun. So looking forward to another good moto and Moto 2, and can't thank the whole Honda team enough. They've put a lot of work into this bike and pretty comfy on it right now.
And that's impressive because throughout a lot of the Supercross campaigns, you heard about Sexton just trying to find that feel with the motorcycle. Clearly, he's got it right now.
Well, and what I like is how composed he is. He doesn't look beat. He wasn't hyperventilating. He doesn't look tired. He looks very fresh and ready for the next moto.
All right, Lucas Oil Motocross results from that one. McElrath, after that great start, ends up in 11th ahead of Josh Gilbert. A bit of an upstart here. And just outside of the points-paying positions, Justin Rodbell in 21st. Josh Mosman, like we said, a journalist with Motocross Action, finishes up in 28th. There's the rest of your 40-rider field. Ken Roczen finishes this moto in 2nd. Let's send it back to Jason Thomas.
Ken Roczen, you've had some time off. This has been a good track for you, though. You come out swinging, battle with your teammate there for a bit. Still a really strong ride after many people are wondering what they would see from you today.
Yeah, you know, I for some reason do good on this track, but I really struggle with these conditions. And I unfortunately, in this first moto, I didn't ride as loose as I wanted to. But it was the same story last year. I struggled just in the first moto, and then I got better. So I'm really happy with the performance. I got a little bit screwed over with the lappers, and I kind of lost touch to Chase a little bit. So I was just putting around in the end and trying to scout the track for a second moto as well. And yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to my dad. Vater, vielen Dank für die 3 Wochen zu Hause. Wir arbeiten weiter, bis wir ganz oben sind.
That's good stuff. We tend to forget that he is a native German speaker, that he speaks English so well. So shout out to Papa over there in Germany. Here's your Honda upcoming schedule for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Next week we are off to Hangtown in Northern California on June 4th. And then Thunder Valley outside of Denver, Colorado will be round 3. Then we head all the way east, High Point, Pennsylvania, Red Bud in Michigan, Southwick, the WIC 338 in Massachusetts, Millville, Minnesota, Spring Creek, Washougal, Washington outside of Portland, Oregon, Unadilla in upstate New York, Budds Creek, Maryland, Ironman Raceway outside of Indianapolis, Indiana, and then we'll wrap it up right here at Fox Raceway again on September 3rd as we celebrate 50 years of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. All right, this is great stuff with the Honda 1-2, and Christian Craig finishes off on the podium on the monster Yamaha Star Racing machine. Let's send it to JT.
Down here with Christian Craig, full-time 450 guy now. Come up with a podium in your first moto of the year, even with a crash. Pretty impressive stuff to, past guys that you've been looking up to for a few years now.
Yeah, I had to pass Dungey twice, and I'm like, wow, this guy's a legend, and I'm glad he's out there. Same with Caroli, but yeah, I just had a good pace, and I had a tip over there in the beginning, and then just made my way back up to third, and then Jason caught me at the end, and it was a good battle. So happy to be here. My whole team, Monster Energy Star Racing, Yamaha. This is a hometown race for me, so the fans show up for this one. Thank you, guys.
All right, that is Christian Craig. Going to make a bid for the overall win if potentially things fall his way. A third can get it done. We've seen crazier things happen in motocross. So he's in the hunt today. Good ride for Anderson, as Craig mentioned. It's really putting some heat on him, and we are only halfway through the day. We'll be right back with 250 Moto 2 at 6 p.m. Eastern and 450 Moto 2 right after that. 4 straight hours of live motocross coverage here on MAV TV. And don't forget our new Tuesday post-race show. You can watch at 6:30 p.m. inside Pro Motocross. Myself, Rick Johnson, Jeremy McGrath, Jason Thomas will take you through the sights and sounds of the day. We'll get more scoops off the podium and everything you need to know to keep up on this series. Halfway through the day, RJ, man, it's 50th anniversary for Honda. What a great performance by their guys.
Yeah, Honda, it looks phenomenal with both wins, 1-2 in both classes, but man, Ryan Dungey and Caroli, they're here and they're representing themselves. As Ryan told me, I'm racing for me. This isn't for anybody else. MC, you got to feel the same.
Well, I think Chase Sexton and Ken Roxon were obviously one of the favorites of the race. I think this having Ryan Dungey here was absolutely great. We also had some great rides from Jason Anderson, Monster Energy Kawasaki team, and Christian Craig from the Monster Energy Star Yamaha team. Probably not really expected. I kind of expected a little something out of Jason, but Christian Craig, I know he's fast here at Fox Raceway. He rode a great race. So lots of good guys. Surprising with Eli Tomac, but we got some second motos ahead of us.
Yep, and a long season to come. We're only halfway through round number 1. We'll be right back here on MAV TV for our second 250 Moto of the day. It was a Lawrence Brothers show there. We'll see if they can keep that up. Who can challenge them? The only riders to challenge the Honda boys were each other. Halfway through. Stay tuned for 250 Moto 2. Congrats to our 450 Moto 1 winner, Chase Sexton. months since the Pro Motocross season came to a close, but when the gate dropped to the first 250 Moto of the year, it wasn't much different than what we saw last year. Jet Lawrence, your defending champion, jetted away with a dominant first Moto victory, pointing out why he has the #1 plate on his motorcycle. But we're only halfway through a 2-Moto format. It's time to pay out the points and see who will take the momentum from round 1. 250 Moto 2 is coming up. We are ready. It's the opening round of the 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. This is the Honda Fox Raceway National. Jason Weigel will be joined in the booth by a pair of legends, 7-time AMA National Champion Rick Johnson and multi-time Supercross champion, the king of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath, and a former Motocross champion in his own right, Jeremy McGrath. We are ready for our 250 Moto 2. Let me give you the highlights of our first 250 Moto from earlier today. This is a little over an hour ago. Big crash off the start here on Moto number 1, lap 1. That is Jalik Swoll, who went down, and unfortunately he is banged up and would not be able to finish that Moto. Now here's the charge up front. Justin Cooper led this one early. Jet Lawrence able to take the measure of him here to move into the #1 spot. And Jet was able to get away from there. Bad news for Cameron McAdoo. It must have been an early crash for him. We didn't see the crash, but we did see him, obviously, worse for wear, headed back to the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki pits. The other Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence, gets around Justin Cooper to take over the #2 position. Cooper started to struggle in the second half of this Moto. He has lost a lot of prep time coming back from a foot injury. So here he loses that final podium spot to the ever-determined RJ Hampshire on the #24. No changes from there. Hunter Lawrence would keep his brother honest in lap times, but the lead hovered around 7 seconds all the way to the end, and Jet is able to take that first Moto victory. Here's your top 10 results. Rick Johnson and Jeremy McGrath. We got to talk about the Honda boys and who can challenge them in Moto 2. It will be interesting to see if Hampshire, maybe Shimoda, who can get in there and prevent them from sweeping the day. For more, let's send it down to the racetrack with Jason Thomas.
Guys, I'm down here by the starting line, and thinking about this series, now anyone not named Jet or Hunter Lawrence really has to think about what's going to happen today. They've got to get to the front in the second Moto and prove a point to these two, because if these two build momentum and stretch out a points lead, good luck catching them. So if you're Justin Cooper, if you're RJ Hampshire, or anybody who fancies himself a championship contender, the time is now to send a message that you are for real.
Yeah, absolutely, because Jason Thomas, we all knew that the hype was there for Jet Lawrence. A sensation both on and off the track is Jet Lawrence. Just one turn away. You can hear the celebratory rev. Jet Lawrence is the 2021 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross champion.
Yeah, I'm really excited coming into the 2022 season with the #1 plate. I mean, we trained for this, and we want to get a title, obviously, and to get to run the #1 plate is awesome. I mean, I remember dreaming as a kid just wanting to run the #1 plate because not many people get to run it. So I'm very excited. Hopefully, I can back it up. The fans being there has made it just so much better of a that's what we race for. I mean, we race to put on a show, really. We love it. I mean, that's what I race for. I love to put on a show for you guys and obviously interact with you guys, have fun, because I just have as much fun as you guys are watching on a fun weekend. So I mean, I think fans can never be too much. I mean, I wish we can have more and more and more, so I get to meet more faces, new people, and meet people from like all over the country and all over the world. Expectation would be the same as last year. Just come in, get good results, and just keep being 100% Jet. Try not to have any silly crashes and that stuff, and just eliminate those mistakes and try and make it an even cleaner year.
And he lived up to that billing in Moto 1, taking that #1 Honda to the #1 spot. And right behind him was his brother Hunter. So we could be looking at a Lawrence brother battle for the overall win today, or is someone else going to be able to step up? It was Justin Cooper doing that early in the Moto, but he did not have the endurance to hold his old rival Jet off to the end. We'll see it as we reset it and re-rack it. Moto 2 coming your way on MAV TV.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. General Tire. Anywhere is possible. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
Lawrence brothers hanging out with their friends and fans earlier in the day. They got a little activation VIP area. We get merchandise and autographs. Then they got to get back to the busy business of actually racing for the day. The House of Lawrence. Yeah, good day, mates. That's a really cool thing. They innovated that last year at this track, and we'll see it throughout the campaign here for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross in 2022 as we get ready for the second and final 250 moto of the day. They'll give you the MX versus ATV Legends track map. Take us through what they got to deal with here.
Once again, they got to make it through that 180 left and 180 right. Once they get through that, there's a whole lot of line changing. And even on this diagram, you can see those shiny spots. That's where it's getting hard and slick. So some of the riders might have switched to an intermediate versus more of a sand tire in their first moto. But Jeremy, a lot of jumps. So some guys are doing everything completely different.
Well, like you said, the track's getting pretty slippery in some spots because it's kind of hardening up. These guys are going to have to watch the first few laps because, as you can see, there's some water, some prep between the motos. That's going to be a tricky part of the track. The first part of this race is going to be pretty slippery. It's hard to push when it's like that.
Okay, so we've analyzed the track. Now let's take it into the tiniest detail with our KTM keys to the moto. Jeremy?
Well, like I said, the track is hardening up. It's choppy. Line choice is really imperative out there. These guys are going to have to get good starts. We know that. But they're going to have to maintain their downhill speed, their momentum. And we saw some nice passes in Moto 1. And I think trick to keeping your speed is keeping that momentum. So I think we're looking for that.
With me, obviously, you got to get a good start, but it's managing these first two turns. Once you do the 180 left, you got to put yourself in position not to get chopped down or get caught in that 180 right. So we haven't seen really much. We saw a couple riders go down, but pretty much they were on their own. They got off of the track and got hooked up in the banners, but really no big pileups. But very, very tight first two turns. They survived that. They have a good shot at the checkered flag.
So that's our KTM keys to the moto. We are ready to go racing here. 30 minutes and 2 laps. Oh, so Time Masterpool struggled in Moto 1. He's coming back from injury. He's not going to race Moto 2. So the alternate that makes it in is Jordan Jarvis, the female racer on the 301. She made a couple of these before, so she was next in line, and they will seed alternates into Moto 2 if a rider pulls out of their gate position. So congrats to Jordan for getting in there. That's based on her finish in the LCQ Last Chance qualifier earlier today. Fly Racing 30-second card is up. And now mechanics move off. It's rider versus rider. 40 of them for 30 minutes and 2 laps. It's a Lawrence Brothers show. Will someone take the battle to them, or will they battle each other? We're going to find out here as the revs come up. And the gate goes down. Another great rush from one of the Yamahas on the inside. That's Nick Romano. No! Yes, he's going to hold it into the first turn, just like he said, Rick Johnson. Those first couple corners are tricky. That might be Noah Viney there, the young rider making his pro debut. He almost throws it away.
Unbelievable. That is Ryan Hughes, Rhino's rider. All finding his father. They bought my track up in Awanga, just right around the corner. But unbelievable. This is a young rider that was an amateur last year. Said we're jumping right into the pro ranks. We're not going to wait. We're not going to stand around and do the amateur deal. So Jeremy,
he's throwing it right in the fire right there.
Well, so is he. This is Nick Romano. It's his pro debut as well for the rider out of New York City. And a little bit of struggle outside the top 10 in Moto 1, but much better here early in Moto 2. Let's see what the kid can do.
Well, and now we see in second place the winner from the champion from last year, the champion from the East Coast Supercross, and first Moto winner, Jet Lawrence, is now into second place.
And he's got one of the Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders in third. I think that might be Hamaker. Oh, to the inside is Lawrence. Romano holds him off.
Jeremy made a good point that when they water these first couple laps, you got to watch because they're not grooming it and knocking the ruts down and stuff like that. So where it's hard and slick, when they put water on it, it becomes like glass. So these guys have to be careful the first couple laps.
I think the one thing Nick has going for him, he is from New York. He's used to riding the slick dirt, in the mud, in the weather. Look, he's never led a national. He's going to be going for it right now, and we can see that making a few little mistakes, but he's going hard just to stay in the lead here.
Yeah, this is a little more what we're used to. You see these rookies or amateurs turning pro come in, and they usually are just all full of adrenaline and fire, at least in the early laps. It was a controlled ride for him just out of the top 10 in Moto 1, but he is absolutely sending it here early in Moto 2, and it's a little tricky. You do see some water thrown down on parts of the track. We've got dry stuff, we've got wet stuff, and stuff in between.
Well, and we see the top 5 is Nicholas Romano, Jet Lawrence, Seth Hamaker, and Michael Mosiman. So Mosiman, and then actually rounding the top 5 is Joe Shimoda. So Joe having a good, strong finish in the first moto, but he has to hang on to Jet Lawrence if he wants a shot at this.
Yeah, he was coming from way too far back with Shimoda in Moto 1 and ended up in 4th on RJ Hampshire. Let's see if Romano can settle down now as he heads off on lap 2 with Jet Lawrence right behind him. And looks like Jet's starting to close up. Going to put some pressure on that 4-1-1.
Jet, all he has to do is just be real patient right here. He knows what to do. I know he's still young. Whoa. He's still young, but he has to be patient. He knows that Romano's not going to get too far away from him. And again, I think he's just staying out of the mud. Track comes in, he's going to pour on the steam, get by these guys. But what a great start to the moto for Romano. Out there leading. What a good feeling.
Well, and what I loved about what Jet Lawrence said in his podium speech is that there's some places where you can send it, use the berms and go, and there's other places where you're tippy-toeing around. And you can see Michael Mosiman as he works his way into 3rd place, who he's got to be concerned about him. But back to Jet Lawrence is that he's figuring out where can I tippy-toe and where can I send it. And to reiterate what Jeremy said, this mud, after the first couple laps with 40 riders running on it, it's going to become more of a racetrack as we see Jet Lawrence work his way up.
A big challenge on Romano there. Romano able to hold him off. Jet's got to go because, yes, Mosiman is the man on the move on the 29. That's the red Charlie Designs Red Bull gas. Here is the inside line from Jet Lawrence, and he's able to put the Honda to the lead.
You know what happens when you see a guy coming up on you like that? You're like, okay, no more being patient. Now, we probably just saw him waiting behind Romano, no problem. But then when Mosiman started coming up, he's like, all right, well, I can't do that. Plan has to go out the door. I got to go. So and that's what we just saw.
We're at an alarming rate, and I'm sure Mosiman knows that. So now Romano's going to have to deal with Mosiman. He doesn't want Jet Lawrence to get away. So we've got a battle on our hands for 2nd. Another good run for Hamaker, who is in 4th, then Shimoda. Hunter Lawrence is 6th. How quickly can Mosiman get around Romano? Can he keep Jet Lawrence in sight? We said Romano was just outside the top 10, but that's 16th in Moto 1. Much improved here. It's kind of a surprise this week when his name popped up on the entry list, and he is going to race all 12 rounds. So his amateur career is over. He is now a full-time pro, is Romano, and he's learning by the inch on this racetrack because guys like Mosiman, they've been around a while.
Seth Hamaker sitting right here behind Mosiman. Shimoda getting a much better start, I think, than the last moto. He's got to really keep the pace here in the first few laps because we saw he had a strong ending of that first moto. So if he can, you know, maybe Hamaker is going to be a little more relaxed after he's got that one moto under his belt. Kind of, I think, like Ricky said in the first moto, probably dealing with some arm pumps, a little bit of nerves, not being in that position much before that race. Now looks like he's riding pretty relaxed. Mosiman's going well, so if he can just sit behind him, sit on his fender, maybe track's going to come in like we say, and he'll be able to maintain that front speed.
Yeah, Hamaker, your fastest qualifier today, and that was a bit of a surprise. He's barely even raced motocross. It's only the 4th time he's raced one of these events. Had 3 starts in his career coming in, missed a lot of time due to injury. He had been very good in Supercross at the time he had raced there. He even got a win last year as a rookie, multiple podiums this year. I didn't really know where he stood outdoors, but Jeremy, you had seen him at the track, and you knew that the 47 had some real talent outdoors as well.
Well, I've been watching Seth for a long time. He's been on the Team Green program for a long time. I've been watching him through some amateur races, and a little sideways there, but I just kind of could tell, man, he had some great corner speed. Kid can ride, and he's developed really well in Supercross, and as we can see, he's doing great out here.
And Romano under fire again from Mosiman, but holding strong that Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing machine, rider out of New York. And here comes Mosiman, who's a Californian. And Mosiman was pretty bold, as he usually is. In our preseason press conference, he said the goal, 5 wins this year. And he's got to get to work right now, Romano, and he's doing it. But they both funnel to this inside.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, my dad used to drill in my head, if you're following somebody, son, you can't pass them. So take a different line, because if they make a mistake and you fall down behind them, that's when I would have the big talk with my dad after a race, he would say, you got to go around. Now we see Mosiman looking to the outside, trying the outside, got a better run on Romano, and now he moves into second place.
Yep, that's right. He rode where Romano wasn't and was able to put the gas into the number 2 spot. So Romano still holding strong in third at a Hammaker, Shimoda, Hunter Lawrence, Styles Robertson, Max Volan, Austin Forkner, and Nate Thrasher rounding out your top 10. 2.7-second lead for Jet Lawrence. This is an alarming situation for the rest of the field if Jet Lawrence can just continue to cruise out front in these motos. And it's a long season for riders like Mosiman. They're just going to try to build their momentum as best they can. I'm going to show you what it's like to ride on this racetrack. The other Shirley Designs Red Bull Gas Rider, Pierce Brown. He had the GoPro camera on earlier today, so we'll give you our GoPro course preview. This camera mounted behind the number plate. This is from our first moto.
Wow, so tight in the first corner.
I almost fall off my chair as I'm watching this. I'm leaning in. I'm all over the place, Dweeb.
Absolutely. Well, so are they. Good stuff from GoPro. Back up front here with Jet Lawrence. 2.7-second lead over Mosiman, and now we're seeing the track harden up, dust even in spots. So it's come a long way from what we saw this morning.
Yeah, it was very deep. They did a great job. You can't, with this many riders throwing dirt all over the place and the sun coming down and it's starting to get warmer outside, that's what motocross is, and that's what I loved about it, because you're losing the front wheel, you're sliding, you're managing traction. It's not as groomed. I know, Jeremy, you were the king of Supercross, and you were also a national champion, but if I had my choice, I loved the outdoors. If I had to pick a class, it was the 250 outdoors. You had to work the power. You could race the bike hard all day. And, you could charge the corners. On the 500, you had to be very, very ginger coming into the corners and try not to stall the bike. So I really like the 250.
All right, the modern 250 here is the 250 4-stroke, and we've got a freight train of them right now. You've got Shimoda, Hunter Lawrence, and Hammaker. So they've gotten around Hammaker. But shout out to Romano, who's still leading this group. He has been tough. The rookie of the 411 in his first pro race. Shimoda and Hunter Lawrence, they're pretty good friends off the track. I don't know if they're friends right now, because they are duking it out, the 30 and the 96.
Shimoda finally making a move. He kind of sat there for a while. Looked like he was, in my opinion, probably didn't make a move early enough. But now he's right in the hornet's nest with these guys. Got to make a pass by Romano. So because Hunter is coming right behind him. So if he wants a shot at that second overall, he's got to get by Romano and hold down that second place. Or, well, he's got to catch Mosiman.
Stasic is committed to developing the next generation of riders like 8-year-old Cooper Langdon of Encinitas, California. The all-new Stasic 18 eDrive allows kids the ability to rip in places close to home that wouldn't be accessible to conventional motorcycles. If you want to be in a future broadcast, scan the QR code you see on the screen and submit your video entry. The Stasic generation is made up of little rippers, just like Cooper. That's the machine where you learn to develop riding habits like this. Jet Lawrence showing how it's done. Getting away here, 3.8-second lead over the rest of the field, and it's changing in a hurry behind him. Joe Shimoda has now gotten around the 411 of Romano. Hunter Lawrence trying to get him as well. He's down to the inside. I don't know if there's room there. He's going to try to make room. Romano able to hold him at bay. Side by side we go again. Now Hunter's going to be on the inside for this next corner after the finish line jump. Seen some passes through here. How about the fight for Romano? He gave it everything he had. Hunter's able to overhaul it.
Well, but what I love about Romano is that he's not giving up. He's not just like, oh, well, they're faster than me. Oh, well, they're pros or whatever. No, this kid is a gamer. He's fighting. He's been working back and forth with these guys, and now he has to deal with Joe Shimoda. Or actually, there's that Hammaker.
Hammaker, yeah, they've all gotten around Hammaker. It flipped. Hammaker was at the front of this group at one point. He got passed by Shimoda and Hunter Lawrence. He's trying to go after Romano. And next in the order would be Max Volan, who definitely needs a shot in the arm of confidence. And it looks like he's starting to build a good performance here. Hammaker tries to get Romano. Go ahead.
I think one of the important things for Romano is to not, try to mess with these guys. Like you said, he can get right behind them, sort of learn some pace. He hasn't been in this position with these fast guys much. So it's important to not play games. Maybe just stay clear, ride your own line, get behind the guy, try to find his pace, and learn at the same time.
Well, and what he's learning, he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just absorbing it and through osmosis, being with these guys and watching what they're doing and feeling their speed. And I remember, because when I first turned pro, it's like, if I could hang on to him for 1 lap, maybe 2 laps, and that's what's funny. That's what Ryan Dungey's mechanic was telling him before the race. Try to lead for 1 lap, then maybe 2, then maybe 3. Next thing you know, the checkered flag comes around. But for Romano right now, he has to learn from these guys because he is going to definitely be a contender next year.
Yeah, that's what Star Racing and this Monster Yamaha squad are looking for, because Justin Cooper is expected to graduate to the 450s next year. Christian Craig, one of their 250 riders, will be moving to the 450 class full-time next year as well. I believe Colt Nichols, who's out injured for that team, is also bound for the 450 class. So they're in a rebuild stage, and they move Romano up into the pro ranks a little early, and he's learning quickly and impressing as well. We'll show you how Romano ended up front. Give you the motosport.com whole shot replay as Hammaker and Romano continue to battle it out for what would be the 5th place spot. Here's that motosport.com whole shot replay. Romano up the inside.
See Romano up the inside. He was able to hold on to it, but Noah Viney, you got to give it to this little kid. He sends it around the first turn, but then loses a little bit off the second turn. And as you watch him on the inside, not taking anything away from Romano, Noah Viney all over the track.
Life comes at you quick when you make your pro debut there for Noah Viney. And Romano takes the motosport.com whole shot. I mean, Viney was on a Super Mini, a smaller 2-stroke bike, a year ago at this time. So it has been a big transition for him as Hammaker and Romano continue to battle, and Romano keeps fighting.
Yeah, and once again, that's what I love about Romano. He's not giving up. And Hammaker, it's great to see him come back. Obviously something, arm pump or something that first moto, but now he seems like he's being able to run his pace the whole time as him and Romano go back and forth.
And behind them, you've got Faulkner, who has gotten around Volan. So that would be 7th place next in line. Then it's Volan, Robertson, Thrasher in the top 10, Pierce Brown 11th, Kitchen is 12th. Ooh, Justin Cooper, you pointed that out, MC, is back in 14th place.
Yeah, not looking good.
Well, Hampshire in 13 and Cooper in 14th, so that is not something that we expected to see.
Yeah, Hampshire podium in Moto 1, 13th right now. And we were afraid that Justin Cooper might not have the fitness for losing a lot of time with an injury. Might be the case here. We're halfway through this Moto. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You can save 15% or more on your insurance with Geico. Just give them a call or head to the website. Man, I've seen about 4 or 5 times where I thought Hammaker had this pass for sure. Romano just won't let it happen.
Well, one of the things we expected to see up front was a Yamaha on the start, and we thought it'd be Justin Cooper. Yeah. Except for it was his rookie teammate, Nicholas Romano, who's holding off Seth Hammaker right here and doing a great job of not letting him by. Hammaker is getting stuck in his pace and losing time to Hunter Lawrence, who's in front of him. Yeah, this is one of those things you should know, but you gotta kind of look past your competition and go where they're not.
I can't agree with you more, Jeremy. He keeps following him too much, and he just keeps telegraphing his movement, trying to go to the inside to pressure Romano to kind of move out of the way. And Romano's not having it. I mean, he's been banging bars with the best. They're right in front of him, and then now we finally see Hammaker look to the outside, but that's what he has to do. He has to try in a different way around him than just looking up the inside because Romano is too solid.
And he goes back to the inside again, almost throws it away trying to get there. is Hamaker. We've seen some passes in this corner, but Romano just keeps working inside to inside. Going to make Hamaker run the long way around. Will it work? This time he gets in.
A little bit of a collision there. Romano almost high-sided.
So finally locking it down is Hamaker, but remember at one point he was there with Shimoda and Lawrence. He is not close now. Credit to the rookie Romano showing some real fight to hold on to that position as long as he could. Up front, Jet Lawrence is up by 7.5 seconds on Michael Mosiman as he's looking to take that #1 machine to a 1-1 performance. Can he keep the undefeated streak here at Fox Raceway alive? So far, so good with 3/4 of the race day done for Jet Lawrence. Checking back in on this battle, looks like Hunter Lawrence is ready to hook it back up again with Shimoda. They were fighting earlier in this moto, and they want to duke it out again. This would be for second. And Hunter trying to make it a 1-2 for the Lawrence brothers for the second time today. And Shimoda looking for an overall podium and looking to improve his point score by holding on to this second place spot. Oh, it's Mosiman in second, actually, still up ahead. Don't mind the pylon there on the left side of the screen showing Mosiman in fourth. I believe he still is in that #2 spot. Shimoda riding really well today. Didn't get to see it early in Moto 1. Had to come through traffic, but he was very strong in the latter laps. And actually stretching it just a little bit over Lawrence. No, I think that is Mosiman back there. Yeah, they have made the move on Mosiman. So they are second and third, and Mosiman has drifted back to the #4 spot. Not sure what happened to Mosiman there. So this is indeed the battle for the #2 spot.
Well, and what I love is that Shimoda is strong later in the moto, and he's got to keep that momentum going because right now that's what he's looking for, trying to get back on that podium.
Jeremy McGrath is the unquestioned king of Supercross. 7 titles and 72 wins, both records will earn you a royal nickname. But McGrath became much more than just a stadium racing specialist, and he proved that in 1995. The Honda star captured 7 of the 12 overall race wins and would handily outduel Yamaha's Jeff Emig by 60 points to win that year's 250 National Motocross title. In 1996, McGrath started the season with 6 straight moto wins, while also winning the first 13 Supercross races in a row. All told, McGrath started 96, winning all but 1 race over a 5-month span. McGrath would also answer his country's call by competing on a winning Team USA at the Motocross of Nations in both 1993 and 1996. Jeremy would finish his racing career with 89 combined wins in Supercross and Motocross and 8 AMA National Championships. And he continued to scratch his itch for competition by competing in stock cars and becoming a champion in off-road truck racing. He's still involved with the sport today as the host of the Science of Supercross feature seen each week on the Monster Energy Supercross television broadcast. These days, the king of Supercross is also a family man with an adoring wife and 2 children. And our profile is brought to you by MX Verta's ATV Legends. And you always say, I know the Supercross thing is what you're known for, but the sense of accomplishment of getting that motocross title means a lot.
Yeah, you know, some of my favorite victories were outdoors. I mean, because I've always said they were just so hard. And that year in 96 at Motocross of Nations was something I'll cherish for the rest of my life. I mean, we had some serious camaraderie that day. We were arguably one of the best teams with, you know, those guys back in 86. You know, comparable to those guys was pretty good in my book. And we had a great day that day. And man, just a celebration of the country and USA, and proud to be part of that, proud to be part of this great industry and have such a long, fun career. and still be working. So stoked to be here with you guys, calling races. Still a huge fan, and I ride my dirt bike a ton. So excited to, like I said, excited to call these races and watch these kids shred this track.
Yeah, that's what always impressed me. You never put the dirt bikes down. Like, you still love to ride.
Yeah, it's weird. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I always promised myself that I would kind of retire before I hated it. We see a lot of guys when they're done, they're just so fried and they're tired of it. I still love my dirt bike. It's created a life that I never imagined I would have for a lot of us. And like I said, I'm proud to be part of that. But I still just love watching these guys just take it to the next level and seeing these kids have so much fun. And it just brings back flashbacks from when I was a kid. So, again, just a great industry, so healthy, love the fitness part of it, and just love riding my dirt bike.
And we move on to the next generation of talent. Jett Lawrence, last year's 250 national champion, and making an early claim for this year's title, looking for the 1-1 sweep in the first race of the year here at Fox Raceway. We can drip back to second place, should be Joe Shimoda. There he is on the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki there in second. But every time you see Shimoda, you see Hunter Lawrence. Hunter Lawrence, little mistake there in that corner, but Ricky Johnson, he's not giving up on this battle.
No, Joe Shimoda is a gamer, and what we saw is first Hunter made a charge on him, got close to him. They had to work their way around some of the different traffic, with Romano and Hammaker, but Shimoda is actually pulling away from Hunter Lawrence, not by a lot, but a tenth of a second every other turn. So now he's about 2 seconds down on him.
They both got around Michael Mosiman, who went from second back to fourth. Seth Hammaker is fifth. Austin Forkner sixth. Nick Romano, the rookie, making his pro debut, seventh. Max Volan, Styles Robertson, and Pierce Brown rounding out the top 10. And every time you think this thing is over, Hunter Lawrence gets back in the picture on Shimoda. This could go down to the last lap.
Everything we've seen from Hunter Lawrence, there's no give up in this guy. There's no quit. He's going to run Joe Shimoda all the way to the finish line. You can bet on that. So Shimoda's going to have to be ready, and this is not a test of, it's not only a test of fitness, but it's also a mental test. This is a lot of pressure when you have someone riding on your butt like that for that amount of time and having to hit your stuff 100% all the time. This is going to be a tough last 6 minutes for him. And I always like to be the follower. It's a little harder to be the leader. So Hunter's in a little bit better position here, but Shimoda's going to try to hold him off. Well, and as we talked before, is the lines on the track, but everything is starting to get so seasoned that they know their lines, they know where they want to go. The insides are developed, the outsides are developed, but there are certain ways to pass to position yourself. So right now, Hunter Lawrence has to not take every chance he's got, but to set the pass up and then make sure he anchors it and controls Shimoda if he's going to get by him and maintain that spot.
Can Honda pull off the 1-2 again? They are 1-3 so far in this moto, but Hunter's getting closer. We'll send it down to Jason Thomas, who's with the Honda team manager. JT.
I'm down here with Lars Lindstrom. I don't know how you can draw it up much better than this. Your rider, Hunter Lawrence, is still in the midst of a battle right now, but what a day so far.
Yeah, what a day. Pretty incredible. Can't, expect them to do any better than they're doing. I think Hunter, he's really strong at the end of the race, so I do expect him to pressure Joe and possibly get that second spot. We don't need it for the overall, but it would be nice. So right now, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, so Honda celebrating their 50th anniversary of racing in America, along with the 50th anniversary of this series, and looking to do it in banner fashion. Can they go 1-2 again here in this second moto? It's up to Joe Shimoda to try to spoil that party, and he would love to do it. A little bit of a struggle in Supercross this year from Shimoda. He was really making strides in 2021. Not the Supercross campaign he wanted in 22. He has hit the reset button big time here for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Looked good in Moto 1, even better here in Moto 2. But again, Hunter Lawrence just won't give up. All right, we're going to take one more break as we close in on the finale of this second 250 moto. Those are your event points. We total both motos together. It's a Lawrence Brothers 1-2 overall. Can they finish both motos in those positions? This is fun to watch. You can just sense how badly these guys want it, even though it's late in the moto. I mean, Hunter keeps throwing it at Joe, but Joe's riding hard.
Well, we got 3.5 minutes left before we get the two laps to go. So we still have some racing, but what I love is that they're not rolling over.
Yep.
You know, a lot of times you see Hunter Lawrence off to the side there, but you'll see a lot of times where if someone gets past, they're giving up. We're seeing this new generation where a lot of them are fighting their way back. So Joe Shimoda is definitely one of those kids that has no quit in him.
Yeah, and Joe is known really for his consistency. A lot of the young kids come into the sport and they're known for that flash and sizzle. He was a little more of a, by the end of the moto you look and you're like, oh, didn't even see that. A good moto from Shimoda. Now we're starting to see a little more of that flash and sizzle, and maybe the starts are part of that.
Yeah, well, I think he's finding his speed. I don't think it's something you want to be known for as, hey, your consistency, right?
Mm-hmm,
I mean, what you'd rather be known for is your speed and then find the consistency. However, he's doing a great job of finding the speed after being very consistent.
Yeah.
You know, he's putting the work in. You can tell he's got 2.5 minutes here to survive this battle with Hunter Lawrence, who we know is strong, and looking to try to go 1-2 with his brother, but Shimoda's doing an awesome job.
And just like that, he shed a little pressure again from Hunter. Let's see if this one goes down to the wire.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
Imagine sprint cars on a quarter-mile track for 500 laps. And let's throw in a 3-wide start and some pit stops to boot. That's what you get with the Lucas Oil Little 500. Catch all the action at 9 a.m. tomorrow, only on MAV TV. We are back here at Lucas Oil Pro Motocross from California, opening round of the season, and it has been the Jet Lawrence show. And what a show he's putting on, even with a 9.7-second lead. It is fun to watch that style and speed like he just carried through that corner. Your defending champ looking better than ever so far today.
In that promo, we got to see Cameron McAdoo. Unfortunately, went down hard in the first moto. Not out here for the second moto. We do not have a report on that, but Cameron McAdoo was getting hauled off with a little bit of blood out of the nose and the mouth. So tough day. I hope it will.
Yeah, tough break for McAdoo. Got hurt at this track last year. Hopefully he can bounce back pretty quickly. And Jet Lawrence with it completely under control here. Now we're just playing the clock game. Will he get to the finish before or after that countdown clock expires? It's going to be 2 laps to go or 3, depending. There is Shimoda in second. Shimoda's keeping Jet honest because he has to keep pushing, because Hunter Lawrence is relentless with this pressure from third.
Well, here's one of the things that Hunter has going for him. He already knows that he doesn't have to pass Shimoda to get second overall, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Shimoda just wants to stand for something. You know, he's like, man, I had some good speed at the end of the first moto. This moto, I'm running second. I do not want to get past. And he's showing some good stamina and some good willpower here at the end of the moto. We all know Hunter Lawrence has a lot of fight in him, but it's winding down here. So if he's going to do something, he's got to do it now. Well,
but it also, what Hunter needs to think about for the championship, he's going to lose another 2 points. So he'll be down 8 points after the first round. And that's a chunk. That's a chunk of change that you do not want to give that up. So every bit counts. The 2 points at the last round count the same as the 2 points at the first round. So he's definitely not going to give up and settle in for the overall, because it really means nothing at this point. He needs to go for those points.
And what's also good, these guys are really good friends off the track. They grew up, the Lawrence brothers and Shimoda, as development riders with the old Geico Honda team, so they raced together as amateurs, especially Jet and Joe. Hunter's a little older, turned pro earlier, but these guys really get along well off of the racetrack. But you can see they put that down as soon as they put the helmets on. Hunter Lawrence is, for about the 10th time, giving it a charge here.
And this is the first time we've seen Joe Shimoda look back. So Jeremy was pointing that on the first moto. If you're looking back, you're not thinking about going forward. So right now he's got Hunter Lawrence hot on his tail.
And it is going to be 2 laps to go here at Fox Raceway. It's only about, well, would now be about a lap and a half for Hunter on that 96 to try to take second place away. They pulled away a bit from Mosiman, who's 4th. Seth Hamaker, this moto holding pretty strong in the top 5. Then it's Forkner, Brown, Levi Kitchen, Max Bolin, and RJ Hampshire rounding out the top 10. Hampshire was 3rd in Moto 1, so not what he wanted here in Moto 2. So about as close as they've been.
Well, Jeremy talked about you got to man up. In outdoor motocross, you hurt. And right now, Joe Shimoda's worked so hard, and he thought that he had Hunter pretty much covered. Now he looks back, and he's riding on his tail. So imagine being completely anaerobic, tired as can be. Now you have to put in your 2 hardest laps to keep this little Aussie off your tail.
You are barely able to hold on to the handlebars at the end of this race, and you have to put in your fastest laps. We know Hunter Lawrence will not give up. That's one of his strong points. At the end of these races, he's been nothing but spectacular. He makes a lot of passes within the last couple minutes. We've seen it in Supercross a lot. And Shimoda's going to be put to the test for sure.
White flag now. 1 more lap as Chet Lawrence is on a cruise mode now, looking for the 1-1 and his 4th consecutive win at this racetrack. Take a hand off the bars.
Did you just give him like, hey, okay, thanks for moving over for me?
Maybe. Wow. You got time to think about stuff right now.
Well, bad place for a one-hander.
Okay, yeah,
that was
exactly.
Freestyle back at the late 70s.
Shimoda versus Hunter Lawrence again. We'll update you on this battle. No surprise, Hunter is still there, but he's running out of time.
But he's looking around. He's looking around, trying different lines. I like what I see out of Hunter Lawrence. I think we're going to definitely see him go for a pass, but he's got to set it up. He can't just take the first run at it, because we've seen that happen with Jason Anderson trying to make the pass too soon, and then that messed him up. So right now he's got to make the move, Jeremy.
Yeah, and here's what he's doing. He's trying to get close enough to get Joe into protection mode, right? So as soon as Joe gets kind of off his game a little bit and starts trying to protect the insides, he's going to be able to use one of those outside lines as a momentum line and get some speed and maybe make this pass.
Oh, well, this could be exactly it right here. As we see Jet Lawrence up front, about a half a lap away from victory. And there it is. He's trying that speed line. Hunter versus Joe to the inside. They're side by side.
Okay, these lappers might come into play here.
Actually, it worked to Shimoda's advantage there. Looked like it was an attack coming from Hunter. Wasn't able to make it happen. Half a lap to go. We got to clear another set of lap riders.
Man, you got a whole bunch of moving chicanes out there.
What does he do now? What does he do now? The guy's going to take his line. What does he do now?
Hunter's going to grease this outside and try to get a run on the downhill. Side by side. He makes the move. Last lap pass, Hunter Lawrence to second. Woo, here in that one.
Well, that's where you got to use the lappers as a pick, and Hunter did a great job. Shimoda looked to the inside, got held up a little bit on the entry, and that's where Hunter just said, I'm going to run the outside, carry momentum, and it worked out for him. Great job for Hunter Lawrence.
Oh, and you can see Joe is giving it everything he has to try to respond here with only a few corners to go. Meanwhile, Jet Lawrence has been in control all day long until right there. That was not celebratory moves. That was a mistake. He's got to deal with lappers, but no trouble at all. Hunter Lawrence, 1-1 sweep of round 1.
Jet
Lawrence, how about that? We called Hunter so many darn times.
We got too many Lawrences.
Yeah, we called Hunter too many times there. Jet Lawrence takes the victory with the 1-1 sweep, and we wait on that battle for second. It looks like Hunter is going to get it. There it is.
Oh, wow. What a race. What a race.
Yeah. Shimoda and Hunter Lawrence leaving it all out there on the racetrack. There's the great Johnny O'Mara, former champion of this class back when it was called the 125s for 2 strokes. He is now the coach and trainer for both of the Lawrence brothers. He's another one of the legends here in this sport. And old Lars Lindstrom there, the team manager. His dad used to be the team manager of the Honda team, Gunnar Lindstrom, back in the day. So there is a lot of history baked into this performance by the Lawrence brothers, with Jet sweeping the motos. And Hunter ending up second in both motos as well. So it is a 1-2 all around for the team. Shimoda will finish up in 3rd. Mosiman solid in 4th. Hamaker 5th. That's a good solid bounce back for Hamaker after a fade in Moto 1. Forkner 6th. Brown, Kitchen, Hampshire had a rough one able to rally back to 9th to score some points. Max Volan was 10th, Styles Robertson and Nate Thrasher rounding out the top 12. All right, all in control for Hunter Lawrence here at Fox Raceway, but it is just a start. You know, the first thing they're going to be reminding him is a long season, but so far, the defending champ getting it done.
So far, and finishing third, or finishing first, of course. But going to be interesting as we hear from these guys down on the podium. Everybody loves listening to Jet and Hunter, and of course we're going to have Joe on there as well. So a trio of buddies. This is going to be quite the podium. It is absolutely. And we got to give a shout out to
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive.
Well, last night, Honda celebrated 50 years of racing. There's the old team manager, Dave Arnold. Rick Johnson, you were there. There you are on the left, unveiling the 2023 motorcycle, and it has been a perfect weekend at the races for them as well so far.
Right now, it has been a Honda weekend with 1-2, 1-2 in the 250, and also 1-2 in the 450, but we have more racing to go. So I think there's a Jason Anderson and a couple other people that do not want to see this sweep.
Yep, that'll be 450 Moto 2 coming up at the top of the hour, but let's review this 250 Moto 2 with a Lucas Oil race recap. Nick Romano down to the inside. There it is. See those red boots? Going to just knife inside of young Noah Viney here to grab the motorsport.com hole shot. So two rookies up front early, but the now very experienced 18-year-old Jet Lawrence is in third. Viney makes a mistake. Lawrence up to second, and then Lawrence would put the attack on Romano, Jeremy.
Lawrence taking his time in the beginning. The track was a little wet. Right here you see him making a pass up the inside. Nice, smart pass. Once he gets the lead, extends that gap, has a nice moto, cruises.
The entire race was a battle between Hunter Lawrence on the 96 and Joe Shimoda on the 30. First they were third and fourth. They moved to second and third. On the last lap, Hunter makes the move.
The last lap, Hunter comes up, sweeps the outside. You see that puts him on the inside on the downhill. So Hunter put himself into second place, but it was him, Jet Lawrence, all the way to the finish.
Another Lawrence Brothers 1-2, and the number one is 1-1 at round one here at Fox Raceway. He's raced here 4 times at this track. He's won the overall all 4 times. Keep saying it's not his favorite track. It's going to be harder and harder to make that argument when you keep putting the big trophies on the shelf. Shimoda ends up third of the moto. I believe that'll be third overall as well, just out of the top 10 in this moto. Romano drifted back to 14th. Justin Cooper 13th. That's not what the Star Racing Yamaha team was hoping for. He did come in off after injury, and you cannot fake it here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. If the fitness is a little off, it is going to show. Unfortunate for him. Jet Lawrence, meanwhile, he's fit, he's strong, he's down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
Jet Lawrence undefeated here. That's 4 in a row. You're making it look too easy. I think I sweated more than you did during that moto. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, that HRC Honda bike's hooking up out of the gate. It's given me a lot better opportunity here. And yeah, four times undefeated here. It's a good feeling, even though it's not one of my favorite tracks. But no, it's awesome. I get my little the Jetson Honda section. I can hear them every lap. Thanks for everyone that stopped by and bought a donut on that stuff. The fans were awesome here. Congrats to HJ also. I was riding and kind of looking back, just I could see him now. I'm like, oh, did he get him? Did he get him? So I was like trying to race and see where Honda was. So it was a fun, good one, and it's I'm pumped for Honda to go 1-2 when we're almost like we're having a little competition with the 450 guys. So good luck to Chase and Kenny. Hopefully they can do the same as first Moto 1. So yeah, no, thanks to the crowd. You guys were awesome.
Yeah, they got the Lawrence brothers cheering section here, and they gave them plenty to cheer for. When you look at the Geico overall results, there it is, the 1-2 for the Honda riders. Shimoda ends up in third, and RJ Hampshire, by salvaging ninth in that second moto, does end up fourth overall. And you see the right side of the screen, those are championship points paid out based on those moto finishes. All right, we'll send it back down to the podium again with JT.
Hunter Lawrence, you held up your end of the deal. You get the sweep with your brother. Hard fought, though. You had to pass Joe Shimoda at the end there, but tough moto all the way around.
Yeah, it was. It was tough. It's a really tough track to pass on. You know, it's pretty one line, but no, happy. Great way to start the season, and can't thank the team enough. But yeah, looking forward to it. Everyone in the Lawrence hospitality will come over after the race, say what's up, and thanks everyone for the support. It was awesome. Thanks.
All right, Hunter Lawrence getting it done down the stretch with about a half a lap to go to rip that second place spot away from Joe Shimoda. Yeah, and the fans got a lot to look forward to. No matter where you live, there is a Lucas Oil Pro Motocross race you can make it to. Will be in Northern California next weekend, then Thunder Valley in Colorado for round 3, High Point in Pennsylvania, Redbud in Michigan, Southwick in Massachusetts, Spring Creek in Minnesota, Washougal, Washington State, Unadilla in New York, Budds Creek, Maryland. Ironman Raceway is outside of Indianapolis, Indiana. We'll be right back here for our finale. Fox Raceway, about an hour outside of San Diego, California. That is your upcoming schedule, brought to you by Honda. And we'll send it back down to Jason Thomas here in just a moment as we get a few more stories from this 250 Moto number 2. Here's JT.
Joe Shimoda, great ride there. Battled Hunter Lawrence the entire moto. I'm sure it was frustrating to give it away there at the end, but still, what a great way to start the season.
For sure, the Supercross season was a struggle, and I've been working hard for this, and I feel like we're going the right direction, so hopefully I can do another one next week, and let's have a fun summer.
All right, there it is. Joe Shimoda definitely happy after how the Supercross season went for him. Some rough finishes and some injuries, and then starts this year up on the podium. That's where he wants to be. Now, we're not done. We will have 450 Moto 2 at the top of the next hour, so stay with us on MAV TV. And also our new post-race show, Inside Pro Motocross, airing every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. of additional scoops and information from Jason Thomas, Jeremy McGrath, Rick Johnson, and myself, Jason Wygant. So some two-wheeled action every Tuesday, the Pulp MX show on MAV TV as well. So we're here all week long on MAV TV talking motocross. What a great way to start it off, especially for Honda, especially for the Lawrence brothers. But it was fun to watch, absolutely.
Well, you got to give respect where respect's due, and both the Lawrence brothers look great physically, emotionally, and on the bikes. Also, Honda got those bikes very, very rideable. This was a tricky track. You know, I wanted to have Jeremy talk about that. It was sketchy, slick, had a lot of traction at the beginning, got more sketchy as the day went on, but you got to give it to the two Lawrence brothers.
Hey, there's no denying the success those guys had today. They rode hard. Man, Jet was something else for sure. Hunter really coming through in the end there to get 1-2 at the second moto. We saw some rookies run up front, which is going to give them a lot of valuable experience. You know, Hammaker was up front. We saw, who else was it? Cooper was up front in the first moto. Second moto, we had Romano leading the race. You know, a lot of valuable experience for those guys. So veterans finished up top. Shimoda did a great job. Congrats to these guys.
Yeah, that's 250 is always considered the development class. Shimoda, Lawrence, and Lawrence aren't old by any means, but they've been here a little while. Good for guys like Hammaker and Romano to learn today. We'll be right back, though. It is 450 class, Moto number 2, coming your way as we wrap our 250 division. Thanks to you folks for watching. Awesome to hang out with Jeremy McGrath and Rick Johnson. Jason Thomas, excellent job on the racetrack as we wrap our 250 division. 450 Moto 2 coming your way right after that. So don't go anywhere on MAV TV. We'll see if Chase Sexton can follow his teammate Jet Lawrence to victory lane. Send congrats out to our winner here, the Jet, on fire today. We got a little This morning, the top riders in the 450 class arrived at Fox Raceway to size up the competition for the 2022 title. And in the first of 24 bar-to-bar battles, Ken Roczen was able to grab the early lead in his Honda, and then it was literally bar-to-bar with him and his teammate, Chase Sexton. Sexton was eventually able to make the move and go on to win the moto with Roczen in second. But that's just half of the racing today. Who will reign supreme at the end of the season opener? It's time to find out. 450 Moto 2 is next. It's the opening round of the 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing, the Honda Fox Raceway National. Hello, everyone, and welcome to sunny Southern California. Jason Wygant alongside the 7-time AMA National Motocross Champion, Rick Johnson, and also the King of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath, as we celebrate 50 years of history in this series. We'll go back a little over an hour ago to our first 450 Moto of the day. As mentioned, Roczen gets the whole shot, but he had competition, RJ.
Kenny Roczen, out here we see McElrath giving him a little bit of fight, but then Kenny took off. He put the afterburners on and walked away from everybody, but it didn't stay that way. We see Eli Tomac as well there, but eventually some problems with Eli.
Yeah, he was only strong for the first few minutes of the moto. Tomac, three-time champ in this series, carrying a knee injury, drifted back. It was Chase Sexton to take the challenge to Roczen. Kind of surprising to see contact between the Honda teammates. Sexton overjumps that, but uses it to get the lead.
Big-time tank slapper down the hill there, but didn't give up. Kept the momentum. He knew he had Kenny in his sights, had the speed, takes the lead. And, you know, I was pretty surprised. I thought he would pull away, but Ken kept him really honest.
And then Tomac, unfortunately, starts to come unravel for him here. And enter Ryan Dungey, the multi-time champion who's been retired since 2017. In his first race back, he takes third place away from the ailing Tomac here. but it would not be over Dungey, customary for the podium spots. But another Yamaha rider, Christian Craig, was there to challenge him for third.
Christian Craig fell down, worked his way back up, and here you see how starts to work his way around Ryan Dungey. And what I loved is Dungey's very aware of his surroundings as we're watching Sexton as he brings to the finish. But Dungey's showing a lot of respect to these guys, not just coming out here trying to hammer on them.
Yeah, he let him go there at the end, and Sexton takes the easy first moto win, with his teammate Roxon right behind him. Now Honda went 1-2 in both 250 motos earlier today. They went 1-2 in this first 450 moto. Can they complete the sweep here in the last race of the day? But Craig third. And Jason Anderson, who was buried off the start, put in some very fast lap times down the stretch to overhaul Dungey and get to the number 4 spot. Dungey's return, top 5, that's spectacular. Plessinger, Tomac, Barsha, Marchbanks, and Tony Caroli in his first national race in the U.S. The 9-time world champion finishes up in the top 10. Fans definitely happy to see the very friendly Italian here at the races. So we didn't know exactly what to expect from Caroli, who is a part-time racer in his definition these days, but definitely fun to see him out here. Let's get to know the 9-time world champion from Italy.
Now I'm retired, of course, and from the World Championship, and I had some time off of the bike, and then I say, okay, I think it's a good chance. I'm still, in okay shape, to race, and maybe it's a good chance, to make a few races here. At the moment, the plan is the first 2 rounds, as everybody knows. Of course, I was a little bit out with my mind after so many years focused for so long in the season, and then I don't want to have anymore the stress of the World Championship or any championship for long. Yeah, for me it's everything is new. Like I said, I never raced here in Pala. We did a press day a couple of days ago, and this was my first time. So I really like the track. It's very nice and wide, and you have quite some line choice, so it's going to be interesting. Okay, if I'm the top 5, I will be super happy, considering that I'm not prepared for such a long models anymore. But as I do when I race GPs, when I prepare all the winter for racing. But anyway, I'm still enjoying a lot, and we will see what happens.
Great to have one of the all-time legends of this game try his hand at American racing before he's officially retired. Again, 10th in Moto number 1, and definitely having a good time out there. We'll see how much he learned from that and how much he can apply to our second 30-minute and 2-lap Moto, which will be coming your way after this. It is 450 Moto 2, and we are ready for it. Stay with us here from Fox Raceway in California. Round 1 is not over yet.
Finishing 9th from Colville, Utah on the Motocross FXR Club MX Yamaha is the number 35 of Garrett Marchbanks.
He put an incredible amount of work to crack the top 10. He finished 8th. On a Troy Lee Gas factory racing ride from Greenville, Florida, the 51 of Justin Barsha.
Finishing 7th in Moto number 1 coming out of Cortez, Colorado. Wearing number 3 on the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing Machine, that's Eli Tomac.
He rides with the number 7. He finished in position number 6 from Hamilton, Ohio on a Red Bull Factory KTM. It's the number 7, Aaron Plessinger.
He finished 5th. He wears number 5. He's multi-time national and Supercross champion. He comes from Belle Plaine, Minnesota on the Red Bull Factory KTM racing machine, Ryan Dungey.
From Rio Rancho, New Mexico on a Monster Energy Kawasaki 21, Jason Anderson.
50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. General Tire. Anywhere is possible. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
We're back here at Fox Raceway at Pala, about an hour outside of San Diego. We'll give you the tour of this facility. MX versus ATV Legends brings you our track map here, and we'll give you a view from high atop Fox Raceway.
And this tells this whole story. You look at those light spots, that's where it's getting hard and slick. Now they prep the track, meaning they watered it a little bit, but those hard spots get really slick. As you can see up in the upper left-hand corner, you got to make it through the hard right, hard left, hard right. Then Jeremy, a lot of big jumps on this track.
Yeah, big jumps out there. Lots of technicality when it comes to this second moto, because now you got the big jumps, but you also got the big choppy bumps and braking bumps. We saw some big tank slappers from the guys in Moto 1. What are we going to see in Moto 2? We're going to deal with the water in the beginning of the moto, which is another part that's going to be pretty tricky. So it's going to be an exciting first few laps. We'll see what happens.
All right, we'll get a little more track analysis. We'll send it down to the racetrack with Jason Thomas. What do you see?
Guys, everybody coming into this series has been talking about intensity, getting the pace up. I think today, though, in the second moto, patience is going to win out. You're going to have to work with the track and not really try to force it into submission. It's too dusty, it's too hard, and the bumps are getting too square-edged to really ride it like that. So who can be patient, who can find the flow in the second moto is probably going to come out on top.
Thanks, JT. KTM keys to the moto. One more set of tips. Jeremy?
Well, I think Jason has a great point there. You know, you can't override this track. It can happen real easy, and especially in the beginning of these motos, you have to push, but there's a fine line.
Well, keep the momentum there. Go ahead.
And also to tag on with JT, that line selection, you got to start searching for new ways around. Ricky Carmichael was the king of that. Sometimes in Moto 2, straight down the inside turn, straight up the inside on the exit. So line selection is going to be key.
Fly Racing 30-second card is up. The mechanics move away. The focus drops down to the gate. We're ready for 450 Moto 2. Hang on. Dungey's on the inside. He's getting it edged out. Chase Sexton, your first Moto winner, to the lead. And Ken Roczen battling Dungey for second. A good start for Tony Carl as well. Anderson's down. Several riders now piling in behind him in turn one. So Anderson had a bad start in Moto 1. Looked good early in Moto 2. He's down in the dirt. And it's still Brandon Hartraft getting up from that first turn crash. We saw Roczen trying to overhaul Dungey for second, and he did it.
Well, and look at how aggressive Roczen is in these opening laps. So I'm curious, and we don't know this, what changes he might have made to his suspension, but we do know that Ken Roczen is always blistering fast the first 5 laps of every moto. Jeremy?
I mean, this is incredible. Look at the Hondas 1-2, but Dungey in third. I mean, what a great start. The guy hasn't raced in 5 years. The guy is on it. So cool.
All right. So maybe we'll get Jeremy to come back.
Absolutely not.
I'm out of the picture, but I think we can talk MC back into it.
You come back, I come back. All
right. Craig is there to challenge Caroli, who has a good start as well. So we'll see what the 2-2-2 can do with a better start here in Moto 2. The legend coming out of the MXGP World Championship scene, the 9-time champ. And this is really a treat for these fans to be able to get to see and watch him ride in person. I don't know what's the bigger story here. Dungey with a good start or Caroli with a good start. Craig, he's got to block all that out and go after these guys right now, because Craig was on the podium in Moto 1. He wants a podium in Moto 2.
Whoa.
Sexton almost throws it away. Here's Roczen's opportunity.
And that's exactly what Jeremy's talking about. You see the shiny spots out there, and with that water, it's making the track very, very sketchy right now. And we see Chase Sexton losing the front wheel. And he says he's not, where he comes from is Illinois, he's not really comfortable with that hard pack, as we see Ken Roczen looking for that lead.
Oh, can he get to the inside? Sexton will try to edge him off. Didn't have enough room. Ken Roczen to the number 1 spot.
See, for me, guys, this does not create a problem for Chase Sexton. The track's going to come in the next 10 minutes here. It's going to be good. Sexton, we know, has the speed. If I was him, I would just not even be worried or fazed by this.
I agree with you, Jeremy, that I would sit back, wait for everybody to go around, because right now everybody on the parade lap is missing the water. They're going around it, but now in the race, when you have 40 guys on the track, they have to take those lines. So how this track is going to mature as far as pushing that slick dirt out of the way is going to get better every lap.
I don't care how many times we have seen Ken Roczen be absolutely incredible in the opening laps of the motos. It's still amazing to see. He is checking out But even on his bad days, he's good early in the motos. We're going to see the test a little bit later on if he can hang on. But so far, so good for the 94. And how about Dungey? He's ready to challenge them.
Yeah, and when I talked to Carlos's mechanic about that, he says, no, he's like an elephant. He's like a tractor. He just keeps going. So we know that Dungey's fitness is great. His style is impeccable. And so he's right in the mix for actually to be on the podium.
To see an athlete, and this is as difficult as it gets, this sport, be gone for 5 years and jump right back up. I mean, there's not a very big drop-off from where he was when he left. This is unreal. Now, Craig has made the move on Caroli. He's in 4th. He was able to get around Dungey in Moto 1, so we could be looking at a rematch there as you see Craig in the number 4 spot. But Dungey's got to be inspired, and I'll tell you, the more Dungey does this, the fans are going to start cheering as well, and that's going to help.
Well, and as he talked about, he's not contracted to do the whole season. When I talked to Ian Harrison, Ian said it was the easiest contract negotiation he's ever done. He sent Ryan a contract, and within like 5 minutes, it was returned and signed. He said, no problem. we're not going through everything.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see Dungey from more than 2 races with a performance like this on the books. How about Christian Craig? He's got to carry the fort here for this monster Yamaha Star Racing team. It was a struggle for Tomac in Moto 1. Dylan Ferrandis, the defending champ, is out with a thumb injury that he suffered about 5 days ago. But Craig putting it on the podium in the first moto, and he wants that spot again. This is looking like a rematch and a good one.
Well, and Eli Tomac, we don't know what the problem was in the first moto. You know, we were talking off the air, is that Eli was saying in Supercross, I think he talked to Jeremy, said he gets about 10 minutes, and then with the knee injury, he can't hang on. But he was telling Jeremy that he did feel good. So maybe that's flaring back, or maybe he stuffed it in. What's your opinion, Jeremy?
Well, I was surprised by the drop-off in Moto 1 by Eli. He looked really good in the beginning of the moto. I did have a good conversation with him. You know, Eli and I were close at Kawasaki there when he was there, and you know, I would figure, like, I wouldn't figure that he'd be pulling any tricks on me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I figured he'd be good, and then we saw a little drop off there. So who knows what happened? Maybe he's taking care of that knee, or maybe, you know, maybe this is the plan. Maybe it's like, hey, take it slow, let it continue to heal, and he'll gain some speed like he knows he can. He knows he has these guys' speed, so that's not a problem.
One other theory I want to throw out there, you know, there were 3 weeks that he basically had between Supercross and this because he took the final race of Supercross off. There's no test quite like actually going out there and raced it. So maybe he felt good at home and thought it was all good, but it's different when you're out here.
Well, and how many times, there's a gazillion times that he could have dabbed it a little off to the left, right? Because these guys are losing the front wheel all the time as we watch Caroli and him go by. You know, so here we see Eli trying to work his way up. So whatever he had going on in the first moto, he looks fine now.
Yeah, he's good early here in Moto 2. So this is a fun battle. This is the type of crazy scenarios we wanted to see. Antonio Caroli versus Eli Tomac. I don't think we expected to see that this year, but it's been fun to watch. Send it down to Jason Thomas with more on Tomac.
Eli Tomac's mechanic. He's in a battle with Tony Caroli at the moment. Kind of a tough first moto. Move backwards a little bit. I know you guys made some bike changes, but what's the goal for second moto?
Just to move forward second moto. I mean, first moto we struggled a little bit, kind of went backwards, but as of right now, it's looking a little better and focusing forward.
All right, that's Josh Ellington, the mechanic. Was with Justin Cooper last year. Got a Supercross championship in the Premier Division, a 450 class with Tomac this year. And Crowley's fighting back.
Right, but I want you to focus, watch Tomac. Anytime, so if you're a fan, watch this. Keep an eye on Eli Tomac's feet. He has evolved the sport with his father, John Tomac. We talked about it. As he goes to the corner, there he took his foot off. But a lot of times you'll see him keep both feet on the pegs as he goes around the corner. He does it very well in Supercross. I talked to John. He said it started out as drills when he was younger. But then when I talked to Eli, it says when he got on the bigger bikes, he felt more comfortable. But the key to that style is the balance of the bike. You see both feet on the pegs right there. And Eli is the first one to perfect this, Jeremy. I don't know if you did it much. I mean, I did it on some sweepers and things like that, but not on tight-rutted corners. But to finish my thought, it's the balance of the bike. If you have it too soft in the front, it tucks the front and you want to go down. If you have it too soft in the back, it makes it want to push, and then you end up dabbing. So any chance you get a chance, watch Eli Tomac, and he does not, even if he does take his foot off, he doesn't take it way off and put it way out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's one of the last people that'll take that foot off only at the very last second. Now, we mentioned Tony Crowley, saw the feature earlier, the 9-time champ from Europe, told us he's not in his prime anymore. Now, last year he was in the hunt for that MXGP World title again, but he's really turned into a development rider for KTM now, and that leads to a lot of riding where you do a lap or two and then pull in to work on the motorcycle. Had not done a lot of the 30-minute training motos leading into this event. Definitely better so far here in Moto 2 than Moto 1. But we were all trying to figure, was he just lowering the expectations, or was he just telling us the truth, that he wasn't in quite race shape anymore? I guess we'll know by the end of this Moto where he stands. Still really fun to have him out here. A lot of fans have watched him on TV, saw pictures, but never got to watch him ride in person. McElrath is 7th. And a shout out to Josh Gilbert out of the UK, who is fast in practice and hovering around the top 10 all day. 9th right now, just got passed by Aaron Plessinger. Benny Bloss rounding out the top 10, battling it out with Garrett Marchbanks, who's on the Club MX Yamaha, Bloss on the BBMX KTM. So there is Caroli. We'll give it a track courtesy of our GoPro course preview. This is from Justin Barcia's camera earlier today, Moto 1. There's that intensity in the first turn.
Barcia getting closed out pretty hard in turn 1 there.
Oh, it's
this
swallowed
is what
up.
happens when you get a bad start. It's not fun.
Yeah, Barcia has been mired in traffic today. He's in 14th right now early in Moto 2. Good stuff from Justin Barcia. We'll be back. Ken Roczen leads here in California. Roczen continuing to hold the lead. It's only 1.8 seconds over Sexton. Craig and Dungey, they've been battling all day long, and they picked it up again here in Moto number 2.
Well, the two riders out front, Kenny Roczen with a 2:18.7 and Chase Sexton with a 2:18.6. So those two riders going back and forth. And now you step back to Ryan Dungey at 2:21 as well as Christian Craig at 2:21. So the two guys in front have, over a 3-second per lap, they're pulling this away. So those two guys are in a class of their own right now.
Yeah, still impressive for Dungey running in a podium spot, but Craig, he's going to block out the good story and say, I'm here to ruin that and take the podium away from Dungey. See if he can do it. And Craig, whoa! Welcome back, Ryan Dungey.
He's had one of those before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I'm impressed by is just look how clean he looks. He just looks like he's making it, he's not fighting the bike. He's just riding real smooth. And obviously a great start helps, but man, he doesn't look out of shape other than that little air there. But I mean, he just looks great out there.
Well, and he's not lost his fitness. He looks fantastic. Looks probably wears the same size jeans as he did when he left motocross and supercross. So great for him. I mean, this doesn't happen because a lot of times, like riders like myself, you leave because you have to. You get injured out and you have to quit. But Ryan Dungey, first class all the way.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
This is round 1 of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Round 2 coming your way on MAV TV next Saturday, June 4th, 1 o'clock Pacific or 4 o'clock Eastern. That'll be Hangtown outside of Sacramento, California. Another legendary stop on this circuit. But who will go into that race as the series leader? It could be down to the Honda boys. Ken Roczen leading the way, but Chase Sexton is not fading away. 1.9 seconds. It has been an exchange of lap times. It's down to a few tenths here and there between Roczen and Sexton. You get the feeling that there'll be a battle between them for the win before this one is over. We go back to 3rd place. What a story. Ryan Dungey shocking the industry when he announced he's coming out of retirement. And he has not raced for 5 years, and he's in a podium position right now. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas with the man, Roger DeCoster, who runs KTM's racing program.
Guys, down here with Roger DeCoster. Roger, this is one of the most unorthodox teams I've ever seen put together, but you're getting results. This was an incredible effort when, you know, you lost Cooper Webb and you guys are scrambling to put it together. Look what you get done here.
You know, what Dungey is doing is pretty impressive. You know, 6 years since he raced outdoors, and he's battling right now. He's in podium position. I would be happy with top 5, you know, and then Carolio retired at the end of last year, and he's 37 years old, and he's doing pretty good too. But yeah, it's nice, but you need to do better.
Classic Roger DeCoster, never satisfied. Now, let me tell you, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of this series. 50 years ago, he was already an inspiration to American riders. Roger DeCoster, as one of the great Europeans who came to the U.S. to kind of show Americans what motocross is all about, an inspiration to many. And the desire to win never goes away.
Well, and I was talking to Ian Harrison. I said, where's Roger? He says he's at KTM. He's shaving some head. He's constantly tinkering on the bikes, and he'll stay there till late at night. He'll call his wife Karna and say, oh, so-and-so's keeping me here a little later, this and that. And he'll come into the meeting rooms with metal, aluminum shavings in his hair and stuff like that. But Roger, I had the blessing of working with Roger and Dave Arnold when I was at Team Honda, and just when I would come off the track, imagine them trying to balance David Bailey, Johnny O'Mara, and myself, and they were able to make all of us feel special. And they work for us unconditionally, and that is why they call him the man. I mean, I love working for him. I love working with him, and you can see he's still basically busting Caroli's balls. He needs to do better.
Yeah, exactly. They want more, but unfortunately, it might get worse because Christian Craig will not let Ryan Dungey go. Craig is super determined to show the world what he can do on a 450. We're halfway through this moto, 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You can save 15% or more on your insurance, and Dungey's going to have to fight through this final 15 minutes because Craig is on the gas.
Well, Christian Craig, and he was in the same boat the race before, and he was able to pull it off. Christian Craig, another one of those riders for Toyota of Escondido, who once again supports the whole Star Yamaha team. But Christian Craig can make up a little ground, but as Carlos said, I think that Dungey's like a tractor. He just doesn't make a mistake. So that makes it really hard for Christian Craig to make a move.
Well, I nicknamed him the Diesel a few years ago, and there's a reason for it. I mean, look at the guy. You're right. He's just like a tractor. Christian Craig is seeing those results right in front of him. But I have to say, this is a pretty amazing result and ride for two guys that are pretty much retired. I mean, Dungey's been retired for 5 years. Caroli's retired. I mean, this is epic ride for these guys.
Oh, epic ride for Chase Sexton. Just like that, he has caught Ken Roczen. Took it down from 1.4 seconds to 0 now.
Wait a minute, Jason, are we watching the first moto?
It darn looks like it, absolutely. What can Roczen do this time? Roczen said he struggled a little bit with the flow in Moto 1. He was hoping to be a little looser in Moto 2. He's going to need to be.
He was also said that he was having a hard time with lappers, and this is not a lapper situation. They've passed a couple guys that really have had a bad day, but right now, this is just Sexton, I think, coming into it. And I want to tell everybody again that Sexton is on a different shock. It's called a BFRC shock. It's the same shock that the past world champion Tim Geiser runs over in Europe. So that style is a little bit different. That shock has all the valving done in the shock body and not in the reservoir, like with the one that Ken Roczen is running. Both unbelievably technology, which is out of this world, but Sexton on a slightly different shock.
Yeah, so it's not identical motorcycles. They give them a menu to pick from, and Roczen and Sexton have different riding styles, hence different setups of the motorcycle, and it's working out about the same as they are side by side into this right-hander. Sexton taking another shot at his teammate.
One of the things Ken Roczen does so well, and we see it so often, is once he gets that bike turned, he points it and shoots, and he gets a lot of burst off the corner. So if we're going to see this pass from Chase Sexton, it's going to have to be like a momentum pass, a fast pass. I mean, because there's nobody faster out of a corner than Ken Roczen.
And that's what I always said that about Ricky Carmichael. And Jeff Walter's the same way, because they're small guys, and Kenny's not that small. But as you said, though, that able to pull the trigger, get the traction, and that's why he gets such good starts as well. So because it is basically a whole shot from corner to corner.
I mean, you watch him out of the corners, and there's that burst. And you can see it in Supercross, too. He jumps stuff out of corners much easier than other guys. And you're seeing that here. You're seeing what we call a yo-yo session, right? So Chase gets on him, then Ken turns, makes a great corner, gets that burst, and pulls away a couple bike lengths. So I expect Chase to probably, I mean, I think he can make this pass. He's got some different lines. We're going to see about that, but he's going to have to deal with momentum. There's a little mistake from Ken Roczen, so let's see how it plays out.
So he's going to have to look for a little mistake, because I think the track is kind of come in. We heard Hunter Lawrence talk about it's kind of one line, hard to pass. You can see him moving around, trying to get to the outside, but if you can use the lapper as a pick, which he's trying to do right now, might help him out.
Yeah, is Roczen going to be able to negotiate this? He does. He gets around the lap rider, and Sexton not able to close in there.
One of the things you can see from the overhead shot here is these guys got a lot of water on this track, so there might not be as many lines available as there was in Moto 1, and it's because they got a lot of water on this track in the intermission time before these motos. So, which is going to make it a little harder for Sexton. He's going to have to really look for that mistake, or he's going to have to get so tight on him. And what you really, to get that pass, you want to get right on him so you can make the momentum pass inside, outside, whatever it is.
And Roczen not letting him get that close. We are down to the final 11 minutes and 2 laps of the race day. And Roczen is giving it his all to hold on for this moto win, which would also give him the overall. It's an all Honda day, but what will the order be? Oh, this is great stuff right here. That yo-yo battle you're talking about, Jeremy McGrath. Different sections of the track favoring different riders. Sexton has been able to close up around this section here. So Roczen enters with, well, we're going to say 5-6 bike length lead. Has Craig done it? Oh, not only has Craig gotten by Dungey, but Eli Tomac, this moto, seems to have it dialed in. He has gotten around Dungey as well, and I wouldn't count Tomac out of making a run for a third.
He's right there.
So was that a mechanical in the first race?
Well,
it very well could have been.
Or at least a change in bike setup. Certainly you would hope that's the case and not the injury. You're not going to fix a knee injury in an hour's time. So Tomac is clearly much better here and apparently very healthy.
You don't ride like that with a knee injury.
yeah, exactly. So we can scratch that. Maybe it was just some setting changes with the motorcycle, but this is a much different Eli Tomac here in Moto 2.
Well, we've seen Tomac in the past. It's not a knock on him, but if he's not comfortable, he does not push it. You know, and we've seen that. And you know, kudos to him, because sometimes you try to ride too hard and make a mistake. Good for him. He's got a little bit of bike setup, looks like, and we are seeing a battle here.
Sexton is there. There's that little burst from Roczen you were talking about. Jeremy allows him to hold the lead, scrubbing together into this corner. Who's going to break later? Sexton into the number 1 spot. Roczen tries to cross him on the inside. Oh, Kenny's not giving up on it. This is great stuff. How fast can Roczen get this outside line? Good drive, but not enough. Sexton has it.
That is so fun to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, all of a sudden I quit being an announcer. I become a fan. Just watch it. But watching Sexton, he took his time. That was a good 4-lap setup for that pass.
Unreal battle with the Honda teammates. Chase Sexton able to take the lead from his teammate Ken Roczen side by side for several corners, and then Sexton able to lock it down, and now it's full sprint to the finish as Sexton tries to get away, hanging it out, and Roczen trying to hang with him.
And then we see Sexton with a little bit of head shake. We've seen that a couple times when he's kind of over jumped into the corner, comes down and gets a little head shake, because these guys do run a steering damper. As we take a look back on that pass, and Sexton had been setting this up for laps, and then he makes the run right across the finish line into the inside, and that gives him the priority spot where really Kenny has to submit, takes a shot to the inside, but that again puts him on the outside. So really no place to go but to start watching. Now Kenny needs to sit back, analyze his lines, and make a comeback.
That was so cool to watch. I mean, when they both scrubbed the finish line jump, but Chase did one thing further. He scrubbed and overjumped, which gave him about a half a bike length, put him in the premier position.
Yeah, that's what Sexton did in Moto 1 in a different section. The over-jumping in the jumps, harsh landing, but he's able to shrug that off. And now a critical juncture for Roczen. Can he keep his teammate in sight and mount a late race charge?
Well, we have just over 7.5 minutes to go with 2 laps. So we still have a lot of racing to go with a lot of lappers. Here's you come in, you see Sexton revving the throttle because that's the way you let the rider know. And also when you're racing behind him, you can scream, but better bet, just rev that thing up so they can hear you coming.
Well, that was a break that Roczen needed to try to get closer. But then he went wide in that corner. And Sexton able to stretch it back out. Gap is about 1 second between the teammates. Let's give you the motosport.com whole shot replay. Good start for Dungey down to the inside. Sexton is there as well. And watch Jason Anderson in green. He just got tangled up. Was that Barsha who hit him in the back? And that put Anderson. We're wondering why they were so far back there. They both went down. Meanwhile, Sexton able to control it and get that motosport.com whole shot. Then Roczen gets around him. And now 1 lap ago, Sexton able to retake the lead. And there's Roczen still lurking. Craig is 3rd. Tomac 4th. Dungey 5th. Caroli 6th. McElrath in 7th. Anderson from way back up to 8th. Garrett Marchbanks, his 450 motocross debut, is 9th. And Barsha, after the first turn crash, up to 10th.
So Barsha and Anderson making a nice comeback.
Yep.
Down in turn 1. That's always brutal.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those days where the results won't show you how well Anderson was riding, as he was buried off the start of Moto 1 and down on the start of Moto 2. And he's in 8th place right now. Roczen is definitely not giving up on it. Here is Anderson. Yeah, he's going to leave today knowing he was a lot faster than it looks in the results. He almost came up for a podium in Moto 1 despite the bad start, finishing a close 4th behind Craig. And let's see how far up the order he can go with 5 minutes and 2 laps to go here in Moto 2 after a crash.
For a rider like Jason Anderson, whose hopes were to walk away with his championship, the pain that a rider has to go through emotionally when you're down on the ground, you're like, I'm down on the ground again, and these guys are out in front of me. You think your world is ending, but you have to understand a lot can happen over a series. You know, even though, like in the lights class, we saw Justin Cooper not finish out of the top 3 and still lose the championship by 6 points. But for Jason Anderson, this is a long 30 minutes plus 2 laps when you're out there riding around thinking, my world is over.
Well, one of the things that you, as a rider in a championship series, if you're going to have some struggles, you'd rather have them in the beginning of the series, right? We know he's riding well. First moto was awesome. He almost got a podium. And here he's making a nice comeback. So, you know, it's tough. Those things are kind of hard to deal with. And who wants to crash in turn 1 on Moto 2?
Yeah.
This is going to be a long, tiring race. And, you know, he's doing a good job here. So maybe he'll get another spot by the end, maybe not. But whatever. He's got to come out of this race confident, knowing he's got the speed.
Well, and then as you go over jumps, the riders look around. As we're watching Chase Sexton out in front, you can see that he's got a 1 second lead. So Kenny Roczen is right there. He is not out of the hunt. No. There he is. There's the 2 Honda riders. If they can do this, this is an unbelievable weekend for Honda right now. Obviously with the lights or the 250, they went 1-2 with the Lawrence brothers, and right now they look like they are in position. I don't want to jinx anybody for 1-2 in the 450.
But what will the order be? Roczen is not letting Sexton have it. It was 1 second when they went across the finish line. I think you could argue it got a little closer than that after the finish. It is not over. 4 minutes and 2 laps to go. Who's going to win the season opener for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross? Don't go anywhere. We'll have the finish here on MAV TV. Oh, that is full send. You heard them wind those bikes up, full clutch, full gas. Both Honda riders in and out of that corner. And Roczen, it's always sneaky fast on such a low RPM on that bike. A lot of times people will say they don't even hear him behind them because he doesn't rev the engine like most riders do, but he makes it work, and I think he's getting quicker here. He's closing the gap.
We talked about this earlier, and you have to make a push. We're 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go before the 2-lap board comes out. And if you're going to do something, now is the time.
Absolutely. You can't. Well, and he's not sitting back. He's giving it all he's got. But we've watched this. One side of the track, Kenny Roczen is faster. The other side of the track, you know, it goes back and forth. And they're both running 219s, 219.64 and 219.67. I mean, that's not even a hiccup. It is such a close distance. But right now, Roczen has to make that move, or it's going to be a 6-point day for Chase Sexton.
Craig continuing to hold off his teammate Tomac, who is in 4th. Dungey 5th. Caroli is 6th. McElrath, Anderson. Barsha's now up to 9th. Just gotten around Marchbanks. Aaron Plessinger, a bit of a struggle today. He is in the number 11 spot. It's Freddie Noren, Josh Gilbert, Alex Martin, and Benny Bloss rounding out the top 15. It's going to be a battle of wills down the stretch here. And also, does Roczen have a spot picked out? Because he's not going to have many opportunities or many laps to make that pass.
Well, what you can see is from the background, you can see him using different lines. So if he's going to have something, he's shaping up for that.
Right. That's what I like about this. He's tried other lines.
He's ready. This battle for the win is going to go down to the wire, and it's between teammates. Chase Sexton won the first Moto over Ken Roczen. He got the lead here in Moto 2. Roczen is not giving up on it. You can see the distance between them. Just a little over a second, but it really depends on what part of the racetrack you're watching. Roczen has his strength, Sexton has his.
Yeah, and it's almost split right down the middle. This is the section where I like Roczen jumps to the outside, tries to get a run. Chase getting a little bit stuck in traffic, and here he comes. So using the momentum, Jeremy, you were talking about that, and looking for other lines.
I think Kenny used a lapper right there. So Chase didn't jump down the downhill because there was a lapper there. He chose to go to the inside, but obviously it's a half second or so quicker because look how close Ken is now.
And Ken Roczen on the outside, long way around. We've actually seen some passes made with that line earlier. Now watch the countdown clock, 55 seconds. Will Sexton get there before or after the clock expires? It's going to be either 2 or 3 laps to go in the Moto. And listen to these fans. They are loving this action. Good hustle by Sexton through that area to get away from Roczen. And by the way, the last lap was Roczen's fastest lap of the Moto. So he is getting stronger. He's definitely proving that his health and his fitness, at least today, is on point. But is it going to be enough?
But we've seen in the past how certain manufacturers will dominate in that. Now, is this the beginning of Honda's reign again? You know, I was fortunate enough to be part of the reign, you know, in my section in the 80s, the Jeremys in the 90s. But right now, we are looking at a very red 2 motos with the Lawrence brothers 1 and 2, and right now with Sexton and Roczen 1 and 2.
Well, it's unbelievable. Yes, he could not have had this day go better. The only question left is which of the riders wins. They are far ahead of the rest of the field. Of course, it's only round 1, and Honda has had their issues locking down titles the last couple of years, so they know not to get too excited from the first race of the year, but it's just incredible how well it's gone as they bring out 50th anniversary looks to the motorcycles. We made a joke between the break. Wow, you like that corner from
He pushed that hard, man. That's one of those that if 1 pound harder of a push, and he would have blown the berm completely out. But watching him, if you're a student and you do ride, watch Sexton. Watch how he stands up and he sits right at the right time, using his legs and his angles to help to study his strengths. Watch, he stays standing up, then sits down, then uses the jump to put him back up on his feet. In the angles, he's very, very efficient. I think he, Jeremy, is the most technical guy on the track today.
You know what? He's so fun to watch. It just looks so effortless. And what you see is you don't see a bunch of feedback to the bars. He's letting the bike do what it wants, and he's just kind of riding it and letting it go. He's trying to make big, long arcs to make speed without trying to cut down out of the berms too early. If you do that, you kill speed. And, man, he's excellent at that.
They're going so fast, our drone couldn't keep up. We switch back to 3rd with Christian Craig, still dealing with pressure from Eli Tomac. So this is a sigh of relief. Much better for Tomac in Moto than Moto 1. I think we were a little concerned that the knee injury coming in might be a problem. That might not be an issue now with how much stronger Eli is here in Moto 2. But Christian Craig doesn't care about the Dungey story, the Caroli story, or the Tomac story. He's trying to show the world that he could be a player on a 450, and he has been strong today.
And as you said early on, he's already signed a contract with Husqvarna for next year to be full-time 450, so he's already making a plan. So now he's trying to let these guys know, I'm a contender. Look out for me this year as well as next year.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not a part-time thing or just a learning experience. He wants to show that he's a player, and he's doing it right now by holding off Eli Tomac, a 3-time 450 national champ. Good to see Tomac, though, picking it up compared to where he was in Moto 1.
But it could be a little bit of his knee, because we don't see Tomac quite as aggressive coming into the corners and stuff like that. So we don't know. This is 100% speculation, and so we're probably going to get torn up. But as we're watching the two, we see Eli up on the top, and then we got the leaders down on the bottom. We got Sexton and Roczen going back and forth, but we don't know.
So Thor battle box, and there's a little bit less of a battle for the number 1 spot as Sexton has started to distance himself from Roczen. Roczen put in that burner of a 2:18 lap 2 laps ago, but now running a 2:20. So the closest battle on the track has become this one for third between Craig and Tomac.
Well, and for Jeremy, I would like you to chime on this too. When your teammate catches you and passes you and slowly walks away from you, it kind of rips your heart out of you in some cases. Unless you have a problem, then you can justify that. But Sexton has done a phenomenal job of just doing the right thing at the right time.
Well, I can tell you this, in these two guys' circumstance right here, it's been the reverse situation for a while, right?
Yep.
Roxon's been the number 1 guy.
Yep.
Sexton's been learning from him, and we're seeing a little different story today. Obviously, that's what you don't want to have happen with your teammate, right? Try not to let those things happen. You want to be the front runner all the time. But no denying Chase Sexton, at least up to this point. Ken Roczen, I think he's definitely opening some eyes. People didn't know what to expect. He had a long break. He looks good. Got some great starts. And today was a domination by the Honda team.
Chase Sexton, a lot of people feel that it's always been just a matter of time. It's not if, it's when he puts all the puzzle pieces together on the 450. Looking at what would be his 3rd career victory. He got his first one on this track at the end of the 2020 season. He won the Washougal National last year, but this is a much more complete package from Sexton. The speed, the riding style, the talent has been there since the moment he got on this bike. But today was the perfect performance all around.
You know, we've been talking a lot about his technique and everything, but his fitness. He has continued as the track gets worse and worse and worse as we see the white flag come out. He's continuing. His best lap was a 2:17.7. That lap was a 2:19.9. So he's continually keeping that pace up and keeping that intensity and finding new lines and stuff like that. So we can't say enough good things about Chase Sexton.
And he has withstood the flurry from Roczen as we're on to the final lap. Chase Sexton trying to start the year with a 1-1 sweep. And how sweet it would be for him. There was so much talk coming into this race about first Dylan Ferrandis, who ended up not being able to race with an injury. Eli Tomac, his great accolades. Jason Anderson, momentum from Supercross. Contender and Dungey joining the series. Maybe a little less talk than there should have been about Sexton, but he is going to be the talk for the next week before we go to Hangtown McKeesley. He is looking at a 1-1.
I don't think anyone's surprised by this, to be honest.
Yeah, like I said, it's when, not if. With Sexton, you knew it was going to hit at some point. This is a stock you wanted to buy a couple years ago.
Yeah, he's a talented kid for sure. He makes it look good. And when it all works right, it's working really right.
Well, and I sat down and talked with him for probably about 20 minutes at the Honda function, the 50-year function last night. And him and Jet Lawrence, they remind me a lot. I haven't had a chance to talk much with Hunter, but they're very smart kids, and what they talk about, tires and traction and balance and all of these things. They're, with them being as young as they are, they're way ahead of the game. So we're going to see these guys at Honda. As I said, this could be another reign right now.
Just 22 years old is Chase Sexton. Moved up to the 450 class a little early. Doesn't have a lot of 250 motocross wins. He's a 2-time 250 Supercross champ. But it was a bit of a risk for Honda to move him up a little early. But clearly they knew that his style and his size would lend itself to the 450. And boy, has it ever. He's always been fast on this bike. But today, he has been more than fast. He has been efficient. He's been perfect, really, even taking some pressure from Roczen. Didn't put a wheel wrong. We saw some aggression, jumping a little extra far and just gritting his teeth and holding on.
Well, Jeremy pointed that out, that even though they're both impeccable in their style, that he's pushing the envelope, jumping a little further when he needs to, and sending it.
Oh, he is happy. What a way to start the season. A 1-1 sweep in round 1 for Chase Sexton. And Roczen charges to the end, gets the gap down there at the end, ends up being about 4 seconds, and Honda has done it. They've gone 1-2 in all 4 motos over both classes today, and some serious heart here from Christian Craig. Eli Tomac was putting the screws to him down the stretch. Craig able to fend him off.
What a ride.
Absolutely. Back-to-back podiums, 3-3, and Craig is happy about that. Great ride by the Southern California native, Christian Craig, on the box in both races, and obviously overall as well. There's Lars Lindstrom, the team manager, first-year team manager job for him. There's Bill Savino from Honda. It couldn't have been scripted better. You celebrate 50 years of racing, you put the retro livery on the bikes, and you go 1-2 in every race. More stories here. He didn't win, but it was a heck of a performance. Listen to the crowd. Saluting a return to racing. He has not been in a motocross race for 6 years, and Ryan Dungey is top 5 today at Fox Raceway. What a great way to start this season with so many feel-good stories. None of them better than this. But hey, they say when you win races, you're supposed to act like you've been there before. You're not even seeing a smile. It's all business for Chase Sexton.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive.
We are back, opening round of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. It was all Honda all the time, a 1-2 sweep in both classes, and led in the 450 class by Chase Sexton. Let's send it down to the podium.
Chase Sexton, perfect day. If you were looking for a way to start this championship, I think you found it.
Man, it was a dream day for me. I looked all Supercross season. I wanted to do fast qualifying, win the heat race, and win the main. Never did it. I think outdoors is even harder to go 1-1. 2 starts, 2 full motos. It's tough. So I felt perfect out there today. Kenny and I were on, I feel like, another level, and it was awesome. The Honda team has put a lot of hard work in this offseason and this whole year, so to get us comfortable, and I feel like we're at a good point right now. So I just want to give it up to them, the fans here in Southern California. Paul has treated me well a lot, and I'm just really stoked, man. This was a big day for me, first 1-1 for me, and just really excited to get this championship going.
Third career 450 overall win for Sexton, but this one was bigger because, as he said, it's his first 1-1 sweep, and he was fast in qualifying. Does not get any better than that.
But I really liked the way he looked. Very calm, very composed, not out of breath, didn't look haggard. Unbelievable job.
Absolutely. Okay, so congratulations all around from the Honda team to him. Here's the Lucas Oil race recap to show you how he got it done. Sexton not always a great starter, but he was in this moto. Getting out front early, had Dungey and Roczen right there with him.
Ryan Dungey, unbelievable. Coming back after being gone, we see Jason Anderson on the ground, but Dungey keeping it in the mix. But Sexton with the early lead.
And then Ken Roczen sends it, gets around Dungey, and then goes for the lead. Roczen always so good in the opening laps of the races, and this is no exception. Takes the spot away. But Sexton would sit there, wait, and study, and Jeremy, the battle was not over.
Well, the track was wet. They were trying to find the lines. You can see Sexton here. They both scrub, which was awesome to watch. He overjumps a little bit, grabs a half a bike length on Ken, makes the pass. Then he's on the inside. He's on the inside for this corner also, and gets the pass done.
And ironically, the pass in the exact same place. That was cool.
Roczen kept it close till about 3 laps to go, and Sexton was able to stretch it. And there's the celebration with the checkered flag in sight. Sexton fires first in 2022. And there is Roczen to complete the Honda sweep here as they celebrate their 50th anniversary in the best possible way. Craig, what a performance by him. 3rd in both motos, putting it on the podium overall, and an excellent bounce back from Eli Tomac, who struggled in the second half of the first moto. Whatever was wrong there, they got it fixed. Solid 4th in Moto 2. Outside the top 10, Garrett Marchbanks ends up 12th, just behind Freddie Noren. Just out of the points is Bryson Gardner. And here's the full 40-rider field. And our race day is complete. Send it back down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
Ken Roczen, you complete the Honda sweep today. I know you wanted to get the win. Still crazy impressive. The crowd was going crazy. Great way to start the series, though.
First off, did you guys like the show we put on or what? Woo! Yeah, I fought hard. That was my game plan. You know, I passed him in the beginning. I had some really good lines, some really good speed, and I hung in there the whole way. You know, he's really strong right now and really fast. So the most important thing for me was to not give up, and that's what I did. This track was really difficult, really tricky and sketchy. So I'm glad we came out with on the podium and save especially. And on top of that, with Hunter and Jet going 1-2, you know, the factory Honda HRC Racing has done such a good job, and I'm so pumped to get all the retro bikes on the podium with 1 and 2. I thank those guys a lot, along with everybody in my corner, my trainer Blake, that is also my brother-in-law, and my dad for coming over to Florida and training with me. So I'm on a good roll right now. I just want to build momentum from here on out and just get better each weekend.
Awesome to see a star like Ken Roczen back in the sport and back on the podium. It was a rough run in Supercross. We weren't sure what was in store for him, but he is back and back to his old ways, contending for wins here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Those retro bikes, Honda kept them covered all day. They actually asked if they could do tech inspection at their truck because they didn't want people to see the retro until the celebration last night. And now they get to celebrate it in the best possible way with the bikes on the podium. And Christian Craig will join them there. Let's send it down to JT.
Christian Craig, home race. Fans losing their minds out here. Has to feel good to go 3-3 today.
Man, I've gotten robbed so many times of overalls, so to get that one, that was awesome. And then battling with my teammate Eli the entire moto, I'm so proud. Just to have this moment. Thank you for everyone cheering me on. I heard it all the way around the track. And do it at my first overall podium at my home track is something special. And thank you to the whole Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, my trainer Swanee, just everyone that supports me. Thank you.
Big step for Christian Craig. Knocking on that podium door. Bust it down today. Honda upcoming schedule. We're going to Hangtown in Northern California next Saturday. And then Thunder Valley in Colorado 2 weeks from now. All the action on MAV TV. We'll have our second Thunder Valley 450 moto, though, on NBC. That's High Point, Redbud, and Southwick. That'll take us through mid-July. Back down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
Ryan Dungey, I don't even know what to say. An unlikely comeback. If you'd have told me 6 years ago you're going to take a break and come back in 2022, I would have laughed at you. You're the one laughing today. That was an incredible performance.
No, it was definitely a surprise to myself. I almost thought I was kind of crazy for coming back too, but I had those thoughts. But, you know, I wanted the challenge. I'm excited to be here. The team did an awesome job today. The bike, this track was nasty. Was a little bit off the pace, of course, but that's okay. You know, we got to start somewhere, and then we'll build from here. But, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm super excited and just super thankful it worked out, and excited for more.
And so are we. Awesome to see Ryan Dungey back, and awesome to get to work with you, Rick Johnston, and also Jeremy. Go ahead, Rick.
No, I mean, I'm in awe with Ryan Dungey, how composed and how well he looks. I am so proud to be part of the Honda legacy, and now just to see this new generation between Kenny Roczen and Chase Sexton and the Lawrence brothers. And I had a blast. I'm here with my Supercross hero, Jeremy McGrath, and with you, I was just hung out in left field waiting for some fly balls.
It was a good time today, Jeremy.
You know what? I enjoyed the company, guys. Always fun to hang with both of you. Such great racing today. What a show from the Honda boys. And, man, I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, we're in for a great season. Big thanks to Jason Thomas there handling the podium interviews. We'll have Brock Glover in the booth with myself next weekend from Hangtown. What a great way to start the 50th anniversary of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. For everyone here, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching, and congratulations to Chase Sexton.